I'm welcoming you all to 2020 in the new year with the first episode of our Wikid podcast. I'm joined by a couple creators, guys. Why don't you introduce yourselves? Whoever wants to go first is fine.
Okay, I'm Scott. I'm the creator of Wrath, the story of a young man who discovers he has the ability to physically manifest the negative emotions from his abusive childhood. We just finished our Indiegogo in October. Digital is finished, and we're looking to print this month.
Very nice.
Hey everybody, I am Chuck. I'm from Sporkman Studios. We are currently working on Sporkman Goes to Japan, just finishing up the lettering on issue 1. Kind of had to restart the lettering again due to some feedback, but pushing through. Ginger's got 6 pages done on issue 2.
Very nice, man. Nice. I love to hear all the progress being made here. Almost time.
Yeah, if she keeps on track, I think, I'm hoping February, March might be a good time. We'll go to print. Now, what we are going to do is I'm going to be sending out the digital, though, kind of taking a page of what everybody else is doing. We're definitely sending out the digital to people early, so that way, the people are seeing, oh, hey, they are getting us to us instead of waiting, to get all 3 at once, for digital backers.
Yeah, that's a pretty smart move, I think. Yeah, give people more bang for their buck, so to speak.
Yeah. I'm also doing the other thing, too, is I might be adding something additional for backers. I'm in talks with somebody for all the ones who are back physically. I'm in talks with somebody of making a bonus thing. I'm hoping it will come through. This person actually volunteered to do it, and yeah.
Sounds mysterious.
Oh yeah, I think people will be very happy if it
nice.
Comes through.
That's awesome.
It's something this person, because of us being late, they're like, hey, let's do something to spice it up. So I'm hoping that this person is able to do it. Asking for at least 100 of this item. It is a lot of work.
So, well, hey, I can't wait to hear more about that. Hopefully, I wish you luck, and I hope that all comes through together. That sounds exciting. And I was thinking this is going to be a busy year for Wikid, a busy start to the year for Wikid, because it's you got Wrath, Machi, and Sporkman all coming out this soon, and then other comics coming out directly to the store, not on crowdfunding.
Yeah, what was it? As someone was asking yesterday, like what was coming out in print, and I was like, oh man, I was like losing track of how many we've got coming out that are funded, and that's just what's funded, and you open up a whole nother big ball of what's going to be crowdfunding this year too.
Exactly. Yeah, you got Jack Irons number 3. Number 3 coming out soon as well for crowdfunding, and
Mythoverse is gearing. So I think Jack Irons 3 is February.
Yep.
March is going to be Mythoverse.
Then we got Movie Man not versus Sporkman, Movie Man and Sporkman. I don't know if they're verses necessarily.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Jeremy settled on what the title of it is going to be.
Oh, yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it's Untitled Sporkman Movie Man Project at this point.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But of course, once he gets that done, we're gonna, we'll have to, we want to tweak the script just to make sure, there's no
exactly
unsporkman, unsporkman
Sporkman-like conduct, exactly. You got to keep it on the up and up. It's all level, right?
I have faith in Jeremy. Jeremy is a wonderful writer. You guys see what he did with the first Movie Men. I think we're in good hands with. He loves Sporkman. He gets the idea of Sporkman, and I think he's gonna love it. And I know his artists. Is really looking forward to doing Sporkman. So we have that coming out. Of course, I'm hoping this summer we can start with we can start production on Sporkman on the high seas. And I'm hoping maybe this year we can also run forward with Volt, the first issue of Volt. So that would be another bonus.
Nice, man. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot going on for all the Wikid creators
But,
this year, for sure.
Yeah. Now, what about Juniper? Is she like a star?
I think she might be doing crowdfunding. I believe she'll be doing crowdfunding campaign as well once we release the first chapter on the Wikid store.
Okay.
So she'll be doing crowdfunding for the second chapter, and I believe that's maybe in around March as well.
And then I think they said, did they say Canadian Bear is done and finished?
Yeah, that's coming. Was supposed to come out last month, but we had a few issues come up. We had to push a couple books back by a month, so we'll be having Barrels #2, Canada Bear #1, and Decimators Volume 4 all coming out this month.
Wow.
Yeah,
I wasn't even counting that. And then Wrath Chapter 2 is going to be following all that, or maybe in the middle. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah, right.
And this is, for me, this is great hearing all these people getting this stuff done. But for for backers, this is excellent news to hear that. Hey, here's people actually doing work and getting stuff out to people. That they're not taking 2-3 years to get stuff done, or a year to get stuff done.
Exactly, and I'm really happy that we were able to, as far as I understand, we were able to get all the books that were crowdfunded last year shipped by the end of the year before the year was up. So I think that's I think that's good as well. It shows that you're not carrying over into next year. We got all our shipping.
Well, you had one, us.
Well, yeah, you guys. Yeah, I got to get you guys your Wikid comics. For
No, I'm talking about the only one that crowdfunded last year that didn't.
Oh, you're right. Oh, I guess I hadn't thought about it. But the reason I think I kind of think of you guys in a different category only because you guys are a trade paperback. You're like such a big thing that I'm like, you guys have some more time.
Okay. All right.
I give you guys more break, I think, on that one.
Okay. Understandable, but we do have Sporkman conventions. So
true, that is true. You guys do have the conventions out, and then that does well. People are really liking that one. So
yeah.
I got my copy.
Yeah, we actually just met with Scott the other day to give him his Christmas books, and so I was able to get him his Sporkman copy.
Awesome. What'd you think, Scott?
I actually read it a couple months ago when we were doing that little mini convention that I showed up for.
Oh, that's funny. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I enjoyed it, so that's why I was after reading that, because I wasn't too sure what Sporkman was about. I was like, I really need to get my hands on Japan.
Oh yeah, that's exciting.
And if you think, I come back to people, I say for our first time doing the comic, and this is one reason why, Scott, I think you did an excellent job with yours. When you're doing your first comic, and I know, Mike, you feel the same way too, because you guys with barrels and stuff it feels great. Have something out there, like even if it's a one shot or something like that, you have something that you had this idea sitting out there. You're like, oh man, I got to get this done. Do it. Don't sit on it. If you got a great idea, do it. Learn how to create.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You'll never get to the top if you don't just start at where you're at right now.
I'm still in the waiting for feedback phase, which can be a little stressful.
It's funny. I actually got one piece that my proudest moment, I think, with Barrels was when Comixology was. I think they still do their podcast, or not Comixology, Comic Central. I think they still maybe do the podcast. But on one of their episodes, they reviewed Barrels, and he just gave it a lot of really nice praise and stuff. And I was like, oh man, I didn't even know that he was going to do that, or because I just put it up on the store. So I was like, oh, that was really cool. So it is cool to get feedback a lot.
We had that happen too when we did ours. When we did our first issue 13 years ago, kind of the same thing too. Like this is the heyday before. The only way you could get the comic was either you knew us directly, or you order right directly from the website, or you met us at a con. So we actually had somebody, and this is when Indie Planet first kind of came into existence. They've been around. They were one of the early first websites that you could actually do print on demand through, and so we actually had a website, or they did comic reviews, indie comic reviews. They're no longer around anymore, I don't think. But and the guy ordered it from us, and he's like, wow, this is great for our first issue. He gave the positives, and he's like, this is a great universe to be in. I'm looking forward to this. But of course, then he did give it some critique and stuff like that. We actually got our first time out. We got 3 out of 5.
Nice, man. That's awesome.
So I was satisfied. I know Eric was, and Chris was too. We were quite happy, because being a first time out, we got a more than mediocre comic. The guys, they said, this is better than some of the stuff out there. Now one of the critiques was the art wasn't like the greatest, and that's understandable. When you're pressed with money, But I think for me, Tiffany's art fits the project.
Yeah, I agree. I personally think the style fits. Yeah.
But it does feel good, especially when you're getting people that feedback from people. Reviews are excellent ways to help creators, as long as you're not being an ass about it.
Right, you got to take a critique in stride. Don't take it too personally, and understand that critique can help you grow as a creator and an artist.
And vice versa. The people who are critiquing it, don't be an ass about it.
Right. Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Constructive criticism is a different thing than just beating someone down.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I haven't had any complaints about the artwork for Wrath.
Well, that's good.
Well, I think for in your case, Scott, I think Emilio's art really fits the project. Again,
Yeah.
I think that's one of the great things. I think everybody, in my opinion, is doing well. I mean, we all have our complaints about the different issues. I know we've talked about this online, where clean up, especially like Mythics. And I love that everybody is doing this, from, Dan to Brett, us, Scott, and I'm sure Mike is the same thing with you guys. I'm sure with all that constructive criticism that you guys have gotten into your next projects, you're only going to make it better. Or even your current one. Let's say you go back and you edit the stuff on the current one.
True. Yeah. I think Matt wants to one day go back and do a remaster version of the first handful of chapters for Project R. Once we've gone through the series for a while and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of spice it up, and kind of bring it up to where we'll probably be at, in years down the line once we've been working on the series for a while, because it's a big epic that we have planned. So
and let me ask you this too: as a creator, you feel like, okay, well, what I wrote originally in those first couple chapters, I'm different now.
True. Oh yeah, yeah. Especially since I wrote it years ago. At this point, yeah, almost a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Right.
So yeah, I totally get that. Yeah. You kind of grow as you write more things and you experience things, and you kind of filter that into your writing and your art. It's hard not to. I think almost pretty much everyone puts a bit of themselves, at least a little bit of themselves in their art.
Yeah.
It's hard not to.
So Dan said, in terms of Wrath, my initial feedback is that page 33, panel 2 is the best panel I've seen in comics. Interesting. I'm going to have to look at that real quick here.
Is that the tree, Dan?
The tree, Dan.
Yeah, there's this really awesome panel that Emilio did, and it's towards the end, where there's this kind of emotional moment where there's a back and forth between Doug and Nicole, and there's this big tree that Emilio drew in the background, and then there's light coming through the tree. It looks great.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I need to. I really want to see it in print. I'm really excited to start working on that print version myself.
You and me both.
Yeah, we got some interesting things going on in the background right now with the printer situation, but I think it's all handled. It's all under control, so I think we're good to go right now.
Oh, was there something going on?
There was a little bit of a kerfuffle, you might say, but I think we've got it worked out. The holiday season was kind of making things busy, and then there's a bit of a transition period for our printer going into 2020. And so we were trying to work out all the logistics and but I believe we're back on track.
Oh, he said. Oh, he said that's okay. I guess I was talking about the Adobe cameo. Well, you know. Well, then I can say panel. I can say like the first couple pages. You know that sport cameo. You gotta love that sport cameo.
There's a lot of cameos in Wrath.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brett thinks he found them all, but he's missing one.
I didn't realize there were so many. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I don't. Matt loves to do kind of stuff like that. He loves to put little Easter eggs in the background. So there's actually Easter eggs hidden throughout the first couple chapters of Project R. I'm sure he'd love to point out to someone. He loves to hide them very well. Sometimes I tell him, you gotta hide it less, man. Make it more obvious.
Yeah, we did that in Sporkman conventions, you know, and that's the thing with Sporkman conventions. A lot of that. Now, a lot of people now wouldn't get it, but you know, 13 years ago, there's a lot of stuff we did in Easter eggs in conventions. You know,
really?
Yeah. Like for instance, like actually, Eric, Chris, and I are actually in the comic.
No way.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that Eric, Chris, and I are in the comic.
That's
actually,
awesome.
we have people who we actually like. For instance, like a lot of people don't know like a lot of the superheroes that are in that first couple pages. You know, when he stands up and he's talking to those different superheroes, those are based on real people that actually,
Really?
that actually cosplay and stuff like that.
Oh wow, that's funny. So it's kind of, you guys were kind of playing a lot on little things of what you knew, really.
Yeah, and we took that to our artists, and Giffany did an excellent job. There was a couple of things, like once again, that he did in there, that we didn't expect, in terms of cameos and stuff like that. And he kind of just really just added things in there that was excellent. That he came back, he's like, hey, do you want to do this? Because you're at a convention. So why not? You're going to take advantage of kind of like the same thing you had Adobe walking past, or having little Funko Pops of Sporkman and stuff like that. So those things are excellent. When you do those Easter eggs, that's awesome. Like one of the things we're going to do for Sporkman on the High Seas, we are actually making a cameo that POTUS Thump is actually going to be. POTUS Thump and Walmart are going to be in our comic. And Jack,
have you talked to him yet about it, or
to POTUS Thump? Yeah, we've already got the clear for him.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice,
we're gonna actually have we're gonna actually have POTUS Thump as as a project, because they're gonna be working with the scientists. So you're gonna see POTUS Thump as like a background on the, you're gonna have a president wall, like Walmart on the wall. That's the president, and then you're gonna have a little a little bunny, like a picture with the bunny I've already talked about, where we're gonna put the bunny at there. And
there's, oh my god, I'm realizing there's a conspiracy theory now, because Jack Irons has a cameo in Trump Space Force, so that means that's part of the same universe as well.
All
connected.
I cannot either confirm nor deny that there is going to be also a scene in a bar where you will see on TV, you will see Jack Irons.
See, the connections are all there. The dots they're all lined up, man.
Yeah, basically what we've done, and we've already talked about this, that in our universe, every comic that we're going to have put in Easter eggs is going to be a movie that we're creating, because we're going to be doing Sporkman Goes to Hollywood. And
oh my god,
what's going to happen is Sporkman's going to run through the set, and in every set there's going to be there's going to be like different projects he's going to run through, and you're going to see like characters, like we're going to have Regina.
Nice.
I was talking with Scott about getting maybe doing like a scene where they run through and like there's filming a movie for Wrath.
The scene you got to do, right? You got to do the scene where the bullies push him off his bike, because that's like, I feel like that's the iconic scene for me of Wrath #1. What do you think, Scott?
That's a good one. We were just gonna have something where they were on a green screen.
Yeah.
So like the characters are there, but the creatures not, because it's all
CGI. You know what'd be great about that? What you do? You have a green screen, or you could do also do a prop fill-in. Sometimes they have like really shoddy looking props just as
Oh, yeah.
stand-ins.
Like some guy in kind of like a suit kind of thing
Right,
that's all
yeah, yeah.
green, you know.
It's like, oh boy, it doesn't look as cool when you don't have the special effects on it.
Yeah, and I basically just had this vision like he is actually chasing the Puffer because that's our villain. He's going through the Puffer's chasing him. Sporkman's chasing the Puffer through all these different sets, and it's just kind of like doing like the Scooby Doo montage. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where they're running through all these different sets, and they're like you're seeing all these different characters. And it just might be like them just standing around, or that might be even just them standing around talking or something like that, you know, and you just running through and there's just all these characters there and you're like, oh shoot, you know, kind of give it the like a huge Easter egg to that, because I really want to give a feedback and give like the love to everybody who's been supporting us, you know, because in a way I want to say yes, we are kind of loosely related, but even though we're our own universe and our thing, these projects actually exist, but they're just in a different format, you know.
Yeah, like kind of a meta type thing, maybe, or like
Yep.
No, I think that sounds fun.
You know what would be funny, but we would have to get permission for that. Is going back to you wanted to do the bully scene. Is if we actually had the bullies played by Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
I think that would be funny.
Likenesses.
Knowing Kevin Smith, I think he would love it because he's a huge comic fan.
True,
but
that is a good point.
You know,
send him off an email, man, or a DM if he has them open. That'd be really funny. Hey man, we love your movies. We got a comic project. We know how much you love comics. Would you mind if we use your likeness for this small bit part and just explain it and see, man? Who knows? But yeah, that would be pretty funny. It's like the back of the book. Normally it says the nobody in the comic is real. It's like 2 of the people in this comic are likenesses are actually real, and we're used here with permission from the actual people. We promise.
Well, the funny thing is, if you get permission, you could actually like have them run past and like have a scene where like they're acting as themselves. Like, what the hell was that?
Like, oh my god, that was weird. Did anyone else see that? No, what?
So it's like actually Jason Mewes, and like in our and for us it would be actually Jason Mewes, and but I think actually I would want to do. I would think for me, I would want to do, you know, the guy and the girl, because they're the more iconic characters of the comic versus the two guys. I think to me, I think it would take away from the point of giving the nod.
True. It would be making more about the cameo, I suppose.
But you know, that's an idea that we're having. I really want to. I think for that's a great idea because it works. You know, this is where we can play a little bit because we're not doing these individual issues anymore. We're doing kind of like these kind of a little bit larger, trades. So it gives us a little bit kind of more to play with and add those Easter eggs into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
true.
With us doing 40, 50, 60 pages comics, it's easier for us to add 3 or 4 pages where they're running through these different sets, and it gives us a little bit to, and I would even love to maybe the Puffer grabs somebody from one of the projects and kind of throws them at Sporkman, the actors.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. I like that. Yeah.
Like I actually have this. I have this idea. Like one of the first sets Sporkman runs across is the iconic scene of Regina and the operator on top of the car shooting the different zombies.
Right.
And that's like one of the first scenes. Like Sporkman kind of does this leap over the car and slides on the hood and stuff like that. And because you got to have that.
That's pretty good, yeah. But I had this idea when it kind of made me think of it, like in this conversation. But not to go back to the Kevin Smith thing too much. But does he make movies anymore?
Yeah, he just did. What is that one? He just did a new Jay and Silent Bob movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? So I was gonna say, like, we should totally write a screenplay for Wrath and be like, hey man, we got this awesome screenplay. Check it out. It's based on a comic book, and best part, there's a role for you in it. It's like, yeah, man. Oh, yeah, let's do this. Let's go. Wrath coming to you, a theater near you. That would be cool, though, wouldn't it? You can't deny that.
That would be
awesome.
pretty cool. Yeah. Don't see that happen anytime soon. But
hey, man, you never know. It's funny. I'm actually. I think I'm about to start writing my first screenplay.
Cool.
I've never wanted to do it, but I found this story that I find really interesting. It's based on a story. Well, apparently it wasn't a unique incident. Actually, it happened to a lot of people during World War II. I don't do you know Nisei? The term Nisei? It basically means a second generation. It's people who were born of Japanese parents who were from Japan. So they're the first Japanese American generation after their parents.
Okay.
Came from Japan, and a lot of them went to school in Japan. Like their parents sent them to Japan to learn and to go to school and then come back. And a lot of them got stuck in Japan during World War II after the Pearl Harbor.
Oh, yeah.
So they had to go to school in Japan. A lot of them faced conscription into the military.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that they had to face, and then coming back and not really even feeling fitting in all the way, and then coming back to America after all these years, and they were cut off from their families, and it was crazy.
Their families were most likely put in camps.
Internment, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And so I was like, I hadn't heard this, and it was fascinating. Learning about this.
Yeah, I'd heard about the camps, but I'd never heard about like students that were trapped over there.
Right,
isn't that actually really interesting.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't think there's any movies that talk about. I was like, maybe I'll write a screenplay on that.
What's interesting about that time period is, because here you had American citizens that actually were forced to fight for the Japanese,
right?
And it was a weird time because you also had a lot of Chinese people that were forced to fight for America in World War II and vice versa. You had a lot of Americans that were forced, that lived over in Shanghai and stuff like that. They were forced to fight.
Right. And how do you feel like if like you're like fighting against your own country or against your countrymen or what I mean, what have you?
Yeah.
Like the other thing too is like if you wanted to defect, like that's a risky move because why would they believe you?
Right. True. And just getting out, it would be so hard in itself, I bet too back then. Oh man. But yeah, it's crazy. It really makes you think like, wow.
That's definitely an awesome project. I would love to be able to see that. That's something. There's so many, people talk about like, Hollywood's dead, and they don't make movies. I think there's so many script ideas out there that they just sit on. They go off of these, and this is the way Hollywood always been. If people look at Hollywood in the 100-some year Hollywood has been around, they always go off of trends. They don't look at and what do people want right now? People want stuff that they're familiar with. People don't want new ideas.
That's why franchises do so well.
Exactly. So and comics is a good point to show what that's like. People don't want new ideas in comics for the most part. People are so. You have the people out there that want to experience new titles and stuff like that, but majority of comic readers, they want their Marvel, they want their DC, they want their Image. They don't want to try to get into something new. They don't want to take a chance on this new title, because it's been proven time and time again, more titles fail, and don't reach publication or are very hard to get out there just because of the nature of comics,
it's funny because I'm the opposite. I love new titles. And like when I see a new book come out, I'm like, oh man, that looks amazing. I want to try that out right now.
Anime does that really well in manga. They're a system that's based on this story has concluded. True. We're doing something new now.
Yeah.
Right. And then the anime backs up the manga book. It helps with the sales. You see the anime, and then you go buy the book, so it backs up the sales of the books.
And I think that's where like the younger generation is really catching on to that, and I think they understand that, so they are looking for that new stuff. It's really my generation and older face a lot of that same problem where we still drive a lot of the culture, movie culture and stuff like that, because for Gen Xers and more, there's actually more of us than millennials. So, we drive the culture for right now. And, what do we like? We like our Star Wars. We like our same things. I think one of the things is and I think like The Mandalorian is proving this point. You can do a comic you can do a title in the Star Wars universe. You don't have to necessarily do the main cast, you know what I mean? The Mandalorian is proving that you can still have a successful title. I think Clone Wars has proven that same thing. And I think those are the things that people are now starting to come to. You can give me the same universe, just give me a fresh title in that universe or something different in that universe.
True. Yeah, keep it fresh a little bit, But it's interesting you pointed that out, because it kind of I had a customer, a couple, sometimes you'll see these customers at conventions, and they'll come up to your table and they'll see what you have, and they'll say, they'll pass by because you have original comics. They're not really looking for that. They're looking for like you said, the ones that they know, the maybe they're trying to collect something, or they're looking for just a certain type of title. Those people are out there.
Yeah,
for sure. But I do think you're right. I think it's growing number of people are willing to try out these new titles, which is a good thing.
And I think really, and to be honest, this is where I think part of the problem in the comics industry, we talk about like what are the failings of the comic industry. Back in the 70s and 80s, like you had a lot of indie titles, like let's take Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They were an indie group. Well, these indie groups, these indie creators were all pulled from into the mainstream, and that's not happening anymore. It's the same people that are in the comic industry. They're not pulling fresh blood into it, which, when you pull fresh blood, you get fresh ideas, and you might get a different take on Superman. You might get a different take on, say, Lois Lane, or, things like that, but they're still based in the same universe. Now it's kind of be the same thing. It's the same thing. Well, hey, Michael Bendis is doing Superman. Well, okay, how is he doing Superman differently? Oh, I realize it's the same character that he wrote over in Marvel. It's not different. It's the same. You know what I mean? It's the same writing.
That's why I really like Neil Gaiman's take on Marvel. I don't know if you've ever read it. It's called Neil Gaiman 1602.
Yeah. Oh, 1602 was fantastic.
Yeah, it's a cool comic.
Because here is a whole fresh idea, and that's why I love the original. That's why I like Brian Bendis' original Ultimates universe. It's like, hey, here's all the characters you love. We're just going to create a whole new universe with them. And things are completely different.
And isn't that where the movies based their version of Nick Fury on? From Ultimates? Yeah.
Yep. And that was specifically created. Bendis is a huge fan of of Samuel L. Jackson, so that version of Nick Fury was created specifically for Samuel L. Jackson. And
that's amazing.
Well, a lot of people don't know. Then what they end up finding out is that the original Nick Fury from the Marvel, the mainstream Marvel universe, ended up over there, and Nick Fury is actually the son of the original Nick Fury.
Whoa! Oh, that's a mind twist.
Yeah.
Jeez. Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. I love that those kind of alternate takes that end up becoming super popular and kind of overtaking certain things. And
well, you look at the whole entire. I mean, you look at the whole entire, movie universes, and they are based off of these great ideas from both the Ultimates universe and the mainstream. But if you look at all the Marvel movies, none of the characters are like their mainstream comic characters, and I think that's another problem. Your movie characters should really kind of reflect a lot of either your TV characters or your comic characters. But
right, they don't really do a good job of neither reflecting nor promoting the comics.
Yeah.
Side.
So, and that's my goal is when we do a Sporkman, and speaking of that, it actually goes into something doing. So I did talk to, we really want to do an animation. So I did talk to Josh the amazing animator, and
Nice.
he's going to get us some prices. We want to do a little trailer for Sporkman.
Nice, man. That sounds awesome.
So that way we can come, you guys plus us can take that and we can shop it to an anime, possible, cartoon series or something like that. And we do it, maybe if we can get it done, we maybe have it on your channel or on our channel or something like that. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, we'd love to do that, man. Yeah, 2020 is the big year for us as we would try to like move into some new territory, and so we have a number of video projects on the lineup. So, hey, man, another one would be great. So if you want to just message us, or we could set up a meeting sometime, we could talk more about details and what you had in mind and all that stuff. And so, yeah, definitely interested.
Because I would love to be, like, honestly, like, one of the first things I was like, I'm like, God, I would love to see Sporkman in Japan as a teaser.
Right. And hell, even going beyond that, I'd love to see it as a Saturday morning special, man.
Oh, yeah. But, with the success of, like, Hardsman Hotel and a lot of these other things, you could do a nice, you could do a 10, 15, 20-minute cartoon, and you could still put it on to, like, and make a good, you can make a good teaser, or you take that and you could shop it around to Netflix, because Netflix right now looks for all intents and purposes, if you look at Netflix versus a lot of the other studios, they can take a chance on a lot of animation.
That's true. Yeah,
they do a lot of with DreamWorks too.
Yeah,
interesting.
So I think, like, I would love to be honest. I know a lot of people give Netflix slack for the thing, but you know what? Hey, look at they got Dragon Prince. They did a Voltron. They did a new for intents and purposes, She-Ra. But think about it. All those titles, we put Sporkman in there. It's an all-age title. Boom. So those are the ideas I've been mulling around my head that Eric and I talk about. We're like, we got to get this done.
And even on the flip side, I think exploring all avenues and options available for us would definitely be the best option. And going along that lines, I think even trying to find some indie animation studios who maybe are up and coming, or maybe have a few things under their belt. Because with those kind of things, not only can you, one, of course, save money, but two, I think more importantly, you can kind of grow together. Like, as they blow up, you blow up, and as you blow up, they blow up. It's like we can become something big together, and maybe even kind of have some bigger things down the line. So I definitely think there are some advantages to going small as well.
The only thing that comes to mind is Rooster Teeth.
Well, that's exactly what I'm thinking, because think of how Rooster Teeth started off with just a bunch of 10 guys in probably in a garage or something. Probably not a garage, but basically 10 guys, and they were just playing video games, and then growing to now having recently had 300 or 400 employees for a while. And
and I mean, who would have thought RWBY would have been as huge as it is?
Right, exactly. Or I mean, even Red versus Blue blowing up the way it did back in the day, and how that's led to, like you said, Ruby or RWBY, and other projects like Genlock now, and they've added on animation studios. They've added on all these new parts and projects. And I really look up to them. I really inspire to be like the way they do it, and they do it right.
Yeah, and if you have, like I said, the downside is I know it's going to be expensive, even just to get a little trailer. Yeah. But even if you had someone who really was passionate about your project, because like to me, the way I think is what if we actually, because I want to show that we're actually getting stuff done, not just getting the comic done. Like, I really have these ideas that I really want to push forward this year. Getting a trailer done of Sporkman. These are things that are going to pull people into not just us, but also say, hey, here's our publisher. Our publisher's involved. They back and they have faith in the project. Well, you know what? Could you imagine they say, well, you know what? Hey, we like Wrath. What if we make that a Saturday morning cartoon? Or vice versa. They said, what if we do Mythoverse? Or you know what I mean? Like, hey, we want to do a movie of barrels, or all these different ideas that, to me, I think this year I really want to push. I think 2020 is going to be this year of explosion, for
Exactly, man.
not just individual creators, but Wikid Publishing. I think we have a lot of room for growth this year, and we got a lot of great titles, and and I know you and Matt are very passionate about growing. So we want to really we want to make this year a big year. So
exactly, I think that's smart. And I'd like to start up some more podcasts and shows for the YouTube channel as well. Kind of get more variety of people on, different topics, different themes. Maybe I really want to do a travel show and go to different comic book locations. Like there's the comic book museum here in San Francisco that I'd like to start off with, and so I think there's a lot of potential to add people on, to get new content onto the channel, and some new video projects and other kind of projects that could really kind of bring us into some new areas and other than just comics, which I think, obviously we love comics, but we want to keep growing and expanding as a company. We kind of have to, if you want to,
Well, and that's the thing is, you look at Marvel and take this to, Marvel and DC. What did they do? They had these comic book companies, but they never rest on the laurel. How did Superman become how did these comic heroes become in the consciousness of the thing? Well, what did DC do? Well, they shopped Superman, and they back in the 40s, and they were doing Superman serials. The same thing with Batman. They were doing Batman serials. Kids went to Saturday morning. They go to a movie theater, and they would watch these larger than life comic books actually be on their screen. That's how you get into the consciousness. And then
they want to say, and then they would say, "Well, I want to get more of that. Give me the comic book now, Mom."
Yeah.
So get that.
And that's something I know I want to do. I want to keep our character. Like, I want our character to reflect on the comic the same way as in as he is in the comic in real life, to be on the big screen. I want him to be the same character. So that way it pulls kids into it. Now, the stories might be slightly different, but there would never be a time where Sporkman is not Sporkman.
That sometimes is the real trick of pulling it off, though, right?
Yeah.
Because then you have what your perception of your character is, but then when you start giving it to other people to develop and put together, they start implementing their vision of the character.
True. A good example I think that I think of is John Constantine from the original Hellblazer run. Mm-hmm. He's pretty consistent all the way through the run, but you can tell the way that they write the character is a little different depending on the author.
Oh, by far, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing, it's the same thing with anime and manga too. You have this vision. If anybody's read like some of the manga, we take Full Metal Alchemist. The original release of Full Metal Alchemist, the last half of the series went completely opposite of what the manga went.
True,
and,
yeah.
And that's because the creator didn't know where she was going with everything, but the studio's like, well, hey, here's what we're going to do because we want to kind of make it, which then fueled them to come back because the fans wanted something closer to the manga, which fueled them to do Brotherhood. So it is very hard, I think, like Scott said, it's very hard to, what you have in your head, because you're even between Eric and I, but between how Eric and I are about Sporkman, there are times we have to reel ourselves in as creators, because Eric has his way he thinks Sporkman is. I have the same thing. Like, I vision Sporkman as being, I always look at him as being, the Superman of our universe, but without superpowers. Well, Eric's slightly a little bit different on how his look is. But Sporkman, inspires hope and stuff like that. That's the way we look at it. So it's even different among creators. That's why sometimes when you're a single person doing an idea, it's great because it's that character in your head. And
right.
There's even differences between you. Let's say you're writing that character. Well, let's say you take that to your artist. Your artist is going to have slightly different views, which is why you do the edit process.
True, but I love that collaboration of ideas coming together and then the final product, and so I think it's so cool to see.
Yeah, it works when there is a real collaboration and you're listening to the source.
Mhm.
What tends to be the problem is when people say, "Well, we bought this, so we're going to do what we want. We don't care
Star,
what you think."
Star Wars.
I mean, that's one example. That's the most recent. But look at Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Just a lot of
No.
stuff like that, and you just have to be really careful about how you let your project go and under what conditions.
Yeah, that's interesting. Can you elaborate on some more, maybe?
Some more on that, like going back to what Chuck was saying with him and Eric. With Wrath, I am the sole creator, so like every decision is essentially mine. But when I work with Drew, like she gets the project pretty well. So sometimes she'll be like, "Well, what about this?" So I'm getting new feedback, but it's still under my control.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So you can say, "Well, I like that. Maybe we'll go with that," or "Nah, I really want to go this way."
Oh yeah, I mean look at the Rage Puppy. The markings there reminded me of Scarwork, which we took and developed into the final version. You know, that was Drew's feedback.
Nice.
So I like working with her just because she gets the project so well, and we get that what you were alluding to earlier is that collaboration.
Nice. Yeah.
Where we grow and expand the ideas while still staying true to the source material.
Yeah, that is awesome to have that with your artist. That's great.
Which works really well because then we can just present stuff to Emilio without having to explain it to him.
It's nice when you can just show them it.
Well, and that's the hard part when you're dealing with, when you have, and I think that's great what Scott has, because you always need, and I've always come back to it, even though you're the, you're the captain, you still need that first mate to actually help you, guide things, that's very passionate about the project, be it either if they're a editor, if they're a artist, whoever will get the idea, because that's only going to help make the feedback a little bit different, because everybody has their own unique vision and stuff like that. Sometimes people can say, you know what, that may not work that well. Here's what I think might work a little bit better.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of that too, but the spark and the new ideas are definitely helpful. But the problem is when you get someone that comes in and says, "Okay, here's what you got. Okay, you go back over there. I'm just going to do whatever I want with it."
yeah. It's kind of every time you say that, I'm like, George Lucas. Hey, I had the script for what I wanted to see in episodes 7, 8, 9. Disney's like Hold My Bear.
This metaphor is extending. It actually works pretty well here.
Yeah.
Now let's find out. Let's see how the metaphor talks about how they got rid of all the extended universe material. How can we fit that in?
I mean, there's been series that started out great, like Lost.
Oh yeah.
First 2 seasons amazing.
You can just
go downhill after that.
Yeah, you can just go through the list. If you want to go back into anime, besides Full Metal Alchemist, Tokyo Ghoul had something similar.
Yeah,
where they're gonna go back and redo the anime because
You're
it's
kidding me.
No, that's what I heard.
Is that real? Oh wow.
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff because the author originally, because it was originally a light novel before it was a manga and stuff like that. Yeah, they made a lot of changes.
Oh wow, that's interesting. I'll have to look that up because that's the last season of Tokyo Ghoul, the one they did for Tokyo Ghoul Re, it made no sense. I was like, I could not understand what was happening. I had to stop at some point because I was like, what is going on? So many new characters showed up and no explanation for who they were or why they were there or what was happening.
There was a little bit of that in the manga.
Oh really?
Because of how I haven't gotten that far in the anime. But there is this weird transition where the manga ends from the normal one and then it goes into RE and then it's a little bit disjointed.
A little disorienting, yeah.
Kind of like how the first couple episodes of The Witcher, if you're not familiar with the lore, are very disjointing.
Yes. Yeah. Great nonetheless.
My dad was so confused at the Witcher episode. We watched the first episode, and after he was like, "I'm just kind of confused. I thought she was gonna be a main character. Like, what just happened? Did the main character what?"
Yeah, they do that. That's my only complaint about that series. I watched the whole thing. I enjoyed it. I'm ready for season 2, but it was very rough trying to piece it all together. Like, wait, you mean this isn't all going on at the same time? I have to like rethink and reorganize everything I just saw.
Yeah, that's kind of confusing.
And I'll be honest with you, my sister's the same thing, because she was really excited to see the show, and I told her, I'm like, it is not a linear show. I said, you got to pay very attention, because the way they time jump is very quick. If you're not paying attention, you're losing what the track is.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I kind of got the sense of that from the first episode a little bit.
Still loved it. I think Henry Cavill really nailed.
The action is slick too. It's like, whoa, this is intense. This is not Lord of the Rings. This is not your typical Lord of the Rings type action, man. This is a little bit more visceral.
Yeah, I think for everybody on, this is, everybody had their complaints about the show, like what it was going to be. I think they blew my expectations of what I thought. Henry Cavill really he really embraced Droll 100% in my opinion.
You think he nails it, the character?
Yes.
Nice, yeah.
And you know what? And here's the thing, and I think that comes back to the testament of what Henry Cavill is as an actor. He is a gamer. He is a geek. He is the guy who gets these things. Like John Favreau and Dave Filoni. There's these guys that get these projects that really embrace like Deborah Chow as a director. They get what these titles are. They get what they're supposed to be. These original visions these creators did, they make their own unique stamp on it, but they don't break the meta on it, in my opinion.
They stay true to the source material.
Yeah. Like you're saying earlier, totally.
And I think that's a big thing is, especially when you have your original writer come out and say, he is that character. That is who he is. That character. That's when you've made it. You've hit the character. If the original creator comes out and says yes,
right? Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, when you get the praise from the original creator, then your cover or your series that it's based on, that's when you've taken that idea and just made it better.
Yeah.
Instead of changing it.
I feel like I read an article. I can't quite remember what it was just recently, but the original creator was giving praise for the movie version or something. I can't quite remember what it was now.
I mean, you can do the same thing with music. Like Johnny Cash's "Hurt." Like Trent Reznor heard it and he's like, it wasn't my song anymore. He'd taken it and just made it into something so much more than what I had originally.
And it can be positive and negative, positive, negative aspect. And I think that's where the negative aspect comes in. You look at, let's bring The Shining, for example. That was totally not what Stephen King wanted, but then when everybody embraced it, Dr. Sleep pulled a lot of, because I just watched it the other night. And
really? I missed that one.
Yeah, it pulled a lot of inspiration from the movie that Stephen King actually, when he wrote the book, he kind of gave it a shot. He kind of made it a sequel to the actual movie version versus the actual book version.
That's interesting. I find it funny that Stanley Kubrick went out of his way. The young boy actor, he made it so that he was not aware he was on a horror movie set.
Yep.
Well, that was just to spare his feelings or something, or
that it could be pretty traumatic, and also that it kind of helped him act normal, which is what he was looking for.
Interesting. I haven't seen the movie. I haven't seen that one before.
What, The Shining?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen The Shining before. I know I need to watch it.
Yeah, dude. If you want, honestly, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people, they are not big fans of Stanley Kubrick. To me, that is probably, besides 2001, that is probably one of the Best Stanley. Oh well, no, I would say the third best
What
movie.
about Spartacus? Is that good? I heard that's good.
Spartacus is good, but do you have Doctor Strangelove?
Oh man.
Oh, that's his, dude. Oh, I love that movie, man. I saw it in school in college.
Yeah,
That's a great movie.
yeah,
And you know what? Clockwork Orange wasn't bad either.
yeah. Clockwork Orange.
Oh snap!
Yep.
Jeremy heard us talking about Stanley Kubrick, and he's like, "I gotta get in here. Get me in here."
That's
That's
The yelling
it's a
goat.
Wilhelm goat. Wilhelm goat scream.
Yeah.
you know, but it when you have people that when you have
Welcome,
projects
by the way.
that embrace what the creator originally envisioned, it's a testament to the lasting idea of that project's in the mainstream consciousness of everybody, and certain people embrace that. Kind of like the same thing, everybody's version of Batman is different. You know what I mean? But it's still, that character is very iconic, and they stay true to what that person's vision of that character is, and I think that's what makes it great.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, you gotta have that consistency.
Yep.
Did you see my Batman poll on Twitter the other day?
Mm-mm.
I
Was
said
there a
which one?
Batman poll?
Yeah, it was a Batman poll.
I
I said
missed it.
which one is better, the Batman who laughs, the Batman who cries, the Batman who sparkles, or the Batman who gargles?
I definitely use Batman who gargles.
Yeah,
He got fresh breath,
The only one was definitely winning the last I looked.
So you're kind of giving the different versions of Batman.
Well, the Batman who, obviously the Batman who laughs is like a dark multiverse character, spin on him.
Oh God.
But the Batman who cries was obviously Tom King's version.
Ooh, the Batman who laughs, it's so evil. He's laughing now. Batman doesn't laugh.
And the Batman who sparkles was obviously Robert Pattinson. But and then I was just like, and what else? Gargles. Let's just go with that.
Close to I'm Batman.
Maybe that's why, because he's like, he needs to gargle some like Alka-Seltzer or whatever the heck you like a Kaufman.
We could argue that it's Christian Bale.
Yeah. Man, you got something stuck in your throat there? You need a gargle?
You need to find Rachel really bad.
Do you need a Ricola?
I'm not wearing hockey pants. Actually, the way he says that line, it's kind of a coin toss of whether it's hockey pants or hockey pads, right? And I wrote about it in the Guardian. I got it wrong because the script said one thing and I said the other. But it's like you can listen to it 100 times, and like every other time you're like, it's this. I don't know.
That's so funny. Either way, it sounds ridiculous.
You should have just gone like completely right and said hockey gear.
Oh man, yeah, that's a great voice. It's funny because it's not as pronounced in the first one. The first voice is like in the first movie, it's not that bad.
No, he just
except for when he asks where the other drugs are going.
Hey, speaking of all this DC talk, have you guys have been seeing I assume you guys have been seeing all the articles pop up about all this Zack Snyder talking all this stuff about the Snyder Cut's real, the Snyder Cut's this I got this stuff, man. Where does this all come from all of a sudden?
I think a lot of it is because with DC kind of lagging in their stuff right now, because their next project they don't have is Wonder Woman 1984, so I think they're trying to build some hype to do. Here's my opinion. I think it does exist, but the studio. I think the studio wanted to go with Joss Whedon's version because they thought that would be the one to hit it out the park. And I think a lot of probably Snyder's stuff was not fully finished.
He admits it wasn't finished.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's probably why he can't release it, right?
Yeah, I mean, he exited partly exited the project, and they hired Whedon to finish it, right?
Yeah, something like they only had
All right, guys, I gotta duck out.
Oh,
okay. Hey, man, have a good one, dude. We'll plug your stuff while you're gone.
12 more days.
Everybody get Wrath. It's gonna be awesome.
Demand. Yeah,
12 more days only. Oh wow, damn, almost done.
All right, let me put it like this: you need to buy Wrath or risk the wrath of Montezuma.
Oh, that's rough.
Gosh, you do not want that. Trust me,
guys.
people.
I'm out.
Have a good one, man. Thanks
Yeah.
again for joining us.
Yeah.
Take care. Happy New Year's.
That's I could say right now I agree with Jeremy. Wrath is fantastic for a first time project. Support it. That's all I could say.
Definitely, yeah. It's awesome. I think it's a great start to a really great series, and I think it's gonna have a lot of growth and touch on a lot of really awesome topics that I think a lot of people relate to.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck,
But,
I obviously I'm late to the game here. I'm sorry about that, but
no worries, man.
what sort of progress is being made on Sportman Japan?
Oh, so yeah, we actually have for the first issue completely done on terms of coloring. I actually have had to go back and read. I hadn't read the lettering finished, but I got some feedback on the lettering that people thought I should make some changes. I approached a couple other creators about what they thought, and I got some feedback. So I'm in the middle of going back and redoing them. So once I'm done here, I'm actually on page 14, and I'm going to release it out one more time to see what people think of the changes based on the feedback I got. Then the first issue is getting out digitally.
Okay, cool.
And then right now, Ginger has just sent out page 6 of issue 2 for colors.
Cool.
So
like current track, that'll be around the end of March, maybe.
Right, yeah. So we're looking about March right now to be finished. The way Ginger is pushing everything, getting things done, it's coming out. Now, the other thing too, which I had talked to Mike and said earlier, we are actually in the talks with somebody that we know as a group and stuff like that. This person is looking to do a special thing for everybody since we're a little late behind. A item that we are going to ship to people.
Okay.
So, and by the way, I still have your cards here that I'm going to be sending with you.
Okay, cool.
So, I have for those who don't know, Jeremy actually because he backed our project and he did one of the highest backers. He's actually getting a Sporkman
ticket
card.
Yeah.
Special trading card, like exclusive for him.
Yep.
Very nice.
And it was done by Pixel Trader. He's the one that created it. So Jeremy was our highest backer on the project. And so I decided to give him the those things. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Gonna join my shelf of awesomeness.
It's a growing shelf, man.
I know.
That's wild, huh?
I am thinking, though, I do have a Sporkman trading card and Natsumi trading card done by Peter Samedi.
Okay.
I am thinking about maybe raffling that off once we get closer to the end of the projects, although I don't really want to let them go because they were done.
That's how I feel about my sketch cards, man. I have a handful of sketch cards that we're going to turn into the next magazine cover. And so I got a Jack. I got my own Sporkman, but my Sporkman's like a obviously it's a themed thing. So it's based on this image called that actually Jeremy was the one who recommended the idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's something wicked. This way comes it's based on a book by Ray Bradbury.
Mm-hmm.
And in the movie there's an iconic scene where this kind of troupe of strange looking musicians and clowns and other kind of things, they all come down marching down the lane. There's like a tall guy in the back and there's all this stuff. And so our characters, a handful of our like most original earliest characters, I'd probably say they're like our first time, like Jack and Maeve and stuff and Sporkman and a few others have gotten renditions as these characters, and we're going to arrange them just like in the on the image. And of course, instead of spelling it like Wicked, we're going to spell it like Wikid, W-I-K-I-D, and something wicked this way comes. So I'm so excited. I love the idea. As soon as Jeremy told me, I was like, that's awesome. It's like, yeah, that's gonna be good. So yeah, look, they came out great. Peter nailed it,
Are you gonna do an issue of the Wikid magazine where you do like the Boston thing? Wicked Smat.
I mean, this is a wicked smart issue. We only got Boston strong here. I can't do a Boston accent, but yeah, basically that.
In Boston, you pack your cat.
Can you do a Boston accent, man?
Not very well. I just know
Not
that
very well.
instead of saying park your car, it's in Boston, you pack your cat.
Mm-hmm. Don't they probably say water differently too? I feel like a lot of different accents say water differently. Yeah. Like I know New York, they say kind of like a water.
Yeah.
Water.
Or on The Simpsons, you had that epic fight between Mayor Quimby and the chef, right? The French chef who is like, it's chowder, and Mayor Quimby is like, it's chowder, and he's like, say chowder, and he's just slapping the crap out of him.
That's pretty funny, man. Yeah, pretty much same idea. Yeah, but hey, man, how have things been going for you, man? You still doing freelance writing and stuff?
Yeah, I'm still doing that. I've done some interviews and talks with various people about either doing sort of dedicated gigs where it's not a job, but it's it's every month and it's a set amount of money,
contract work kind of
thing,
exactly.
Or possibly doing jobs. We'll just see.
But hey, man, I'm really, we should talk sometime because I'm kind of curious about how you first started getting into freelance writing, because I kind of want to start doing some stuff like that, but I don't even really know where to start.
So okay, here's how it started. I was the near complete. So for me, high school and college were the same thing. The last 2 years of high school or college, because in Washington State you can do that. It's this program called Running Start. Wow. So as long as you can pass the tests, which aren't that hard, you can go ahead and take college classes, and
That's
they double
wild.
count. They double count them for high school and college. So you got to kind of make sure that the classes you're taking in college count toward high school, but it's not that hard. So anyways, that's what I did the last 2 years and when I was getting towards the end of that, I was a decent writer of like college papers and stuff, but I'd never really had a computer that was worth a damn. And this was during a time when our family was probably at its worst financially. My dad quit his job, and for a year and a half, he did every crap job under the sun. He worked at a youth detention facility. He sold vacuums. He, like just the worst, just about the worst jobs you can imagine he did. And, we didn't have a lot of money. And for my birthday, they got me this computer that they thought was, decent. And it was just a pile of crap. And, I put on a nice face because, I knew they were trying to do something good. And mom could kind of tell there was something amiss, and so she basically just waterboarded it out of me that this computer is a piece of crap that cannot actually be used to do anything worthwhile. And so then Dad, again, at the worst financial time I've ever seen in our family, he walks into Circuit City when they still existed. He slapped down a credit card and he said, "Get my son a new computer that works." Wow. And so I come home, and there's it was a 486, right? And it's sitting there with all the things that I need to put together and make it work. And I started freaking out because it's like, this is not money we have. And so I just said, I have to find a way to make this pay.
Wow.
And I got it at a time when a lot of publications were like before social media had come around, right? And so it was the time where you had an internet, but you didn't really have social media. You had all these publications that were trying to, get hip with the online thing. I had no idea what they were doing. And so I just assaulted them with pitches. And, they couldn't see what I looked like because there wasn't like a Facebook profile or anything. They couldn't see I was an 18-year-old kid pitching at Time magazine or whatever. I got one thing published, and then another, and then another, and another, and I just kept doing it. Wow. And my theory was that it's kind of monkey see, monkey do. So like if you, you have one publication, you can say, "Hey, look, I was published here," and then another publication will say, oh, well, he's probably okay. And I just kept rolling them up like that, right? One after another, after another, after another. And, you know, I had like a actual physical Rolodex that where I would write people's, you know, like emails and, you know, I talked to quite a few people. Yeah, I talked to a few people on the phone, so I would have those things there. And I got just tons and tons and tons and tons of contacts and just kept steamrolling over this. And then I went to, I took a couple years off between finishing community college and going back to college, right? Because I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I was having some success as a writer, but not enough, right? And I said, well, I'll go back to college and kind of try to figure something out. And that ended up being like a really smart thing to do because I could use college as an excuse for why my writing career wasn't going as well as I wanted it to be. Right. Well, I'm in college. This is the thing I do on the side, you know? But what happens is when you're a writer, you know, well, usually the trend line is steadily upward over time, but it starts at 0. And it's a long hike to where you can get to where you can even pay your bills. So college was a really, really good way of just saying, that's fine, you know. And by the time I'd gotten through college, I made enough connections that I was able to get jobs at like, and I've worked at a lot of different places. And because I wrote all the way through college to pay the bills, obviously. And so that's kind of like my writing story.
Well, so what would you give advice to someone trying to start out nowadays, given that it's, I guess, as you said, the landscape's a little bit different?
It's different. There's still monkey see, monkey do. So get your foot in the door, get published, but then also bear in mind a ladder. You know, like this is a rung, the next rung, the next rung, the one. You know, like figure out where you want to be. Figure out what are the intermediate steps. So I mean, let's say come up with your very like pinnacle of this is the place I'd like to be published. What is that?
Oh gosh, I have no idea.
I mean, I hate the New York Times, but let's say it's the New York Times, right?
Okay.
Right. Okay. Well, they may not just say yes to me if I just send a blind submission. They get a lot of those, but maybe my local paper will publish something, you know, and then maybe a larger regional paper will publish something.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And maybe there's some online magazine that is somewhat credible that will publish something. And, you know, one rung, the next rung, the next rung, then, you know, and you're going to get a lot of no's along the way. But the more people see you out there, the more they're likely to say yes to your stuff.
That's a good point. And then once you start building up those first ones, the more you build up, the more you build, like you said, the easier it becomes to get more and more.
Yeah. Like asking me how many publications I've been published in.
How many?
I don't know. It's in the high hundreds. It may be 1,000. I just lost count over. You know, I finally got to the point where I just didn't even track it anymore.
That's amazing. Yeah, I definitely think that's awesome, man.
Thank you.
I really respect that.
So,
well, that's really interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that, and now you've come to Wikid to try your hand at comics.
That's right.
Welcome to our realm. That's really interesting, man. Yeah, you almost could write just a book on yourself, almost like a memoir or something, right?
Yeah, I'm the stuff I'm doing for Splice today right now. A lot of that's along the lines of memoir, and I might, you know, either rewrite it as a collection or do I don't know. That's something that could be in the works at some point.
Yeah, I think that's pretty smart. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate the advice. Yeah, and
sure.
Anyone else out there who's listening, definitely take that as well if you like, and because I'm sure there's a lot of us who love to write and wouldn't mind getting some stuff published out there. Because I'm like you. I was like I'm where you're at. When in about the middle of your story, where you said I went to college and you know I was always a good college writer, but I didn't know where do I go from there, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like that's and I've written for some online stuff, but other than that, nothing actually published like that.
Yeah, and print matters less than it did, but it's good to get some. good to get some print clips.
Right, I would think so. Yeah, definitely.
The other thing I'll say is that don't. I mean, you can get discouraged, whatever. But I worked for a couple of years at a place called the Cato Institute, and my job was I was the op-ed editor, pitch guy, and so you had the scholars there that would write stuff, and they'd send it to me, and it was written in libertarian, so I had to rewrite it in English, and then I would pitch it to newspapers and everything else, and I did that for a couple of years, and you learn very quickly to not take it personally. Like the scholars would come to me and say, I'm doing good stuff. Why is it the New York Times won't publish me? And I'd say, look, it's not. The New York Times is a kid playing with Legos. Okay. and every day he's putting something together, and he kind of has an idea, but there's another piece or something he's rumbling around for, and he finally he tries this and that didn't work, and finally finds one that fits, and that's the New York Times op-ed page for the day, right? And that's all it is. You just find something that fits at the right time, and that's all you're looking for, is to give the kid playing with Legos that piece that he needs. It really isn't any more complicated than that. And
so if you can make yourself the missing piece that fits that Lego.
That's true. But and conversely, you miss, you send it to them and they can't use it. You just weren't quite the missing piece they needed. That's not.
You're not a bad piece. You're not a bad Lego piece. just because you didn't fit in that one spot.
Exactly. Maybe where the Washington Post he's another kid playing with Legos. Maybe it'll fit there, or somewhere else.
True. There's 1,000 kids playing with Legos out there, and they all need a piece to fit in that puzzle.
Exactly. And I'm not saying quality isn't a thing, but it almost isn't. Honestly, you look at a lot of what they publish regularly. It's not that good.
That's funny. There's a lot of fluff pieces in there, I suppose.
Oh yeah, or like the New York Times is notorious because they all their regular columnists they can edit them for grammar, and I mean there's a few minor things that they're allowed to edit them for, but literally if the head of the op-ed page thinks there's something that they just can't run, he has to go to the publisher. And say, is it okay if we spike this, right? Like the editors don't even have basically it's like a tenured job, and where it's really hard to lose that job. And so all the regular columnists for the New York Times, sometimes they might put in a good column, but they have no real incentive to try any harder than to do the de minimis.
Yeah. No, I can see that. Yeah. Hey Matt, we are joined by another creator as well. How's it going, man? Do we have you on mic?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi.
Hey. What's up?
I'm here.
And it's early.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's funny. We're on the a little earlier. I was saying I'd like to start up some new podcasts and new shows for the channel this year. And then one of the things that they started up is a late night, not a late night, but like an evening podcast, maybe something a little bit. One to catch people who can't make it this early, and two just so people who don't want to wake up this early don't have to necessarily.
Makes sense.
Me, I gotta be here. I'm the host.
Yeah, you have no excuse.
Exactly. I usually get up about an hour before the podcast, just so I'm like fully awake by the time we start. I don't want to be sleepy trying to run this show.
Or if you do an half hour, you better brew that coffee quick.
Right. Very true. Well, how's it going, Matt? Glad to have you on the show. What have you been up to these New Year's and past holiday week?
Working on both day job and Mythoverse stuff.
Right. You guys have some exciting stuff coming up this year for Mythoverse.
Oh yeah, issue 2 will be launching a Kickstarter in March.
So
But-
awesome.
But because of the nature of Kickstarter, fulfilled by the time you try to launch your next campaign, you don't get to launch that next campaign until you do.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that. I'm actually pretty confident we'll be able to fulfill it by then.
Oh, yeah.
My thoughts right now on fulfillment for anyone who's curious is probably start fulfilling at the beginning of February and probably finish by the end of February.
Yeah, I'm just thinking along the lines of people who might have slipped through the cracks, because I've noticed that this has been happening a lot lately with Kickstarters.
Yeah, no, it happens. It definitely happens. You hate to see it, but it does happen.
Yeah.
But you're saying about you can't launch the next project. There are plenty of people on Kickstarter that haven't fulfilled a Kickstarter and they go and they do another project.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Where'd you hear that information from? Is that do we need to check that maybe, make sure that's accurate?
Well, Kickstarter has stated policies, but it's that doesn't mean that they're rigorously enforced.
Because I actually backed a couple projects of one. This person said, "Oh yeah, well we're going to fulfill this." Meanwhile, they go and we're waiting for that to be fulfilled, and they haven't fulfilled it over. You think everybody thinks that some of the IGTs being late is bad? Consider a couple of the Kickstarters I'm waiting for almost 2 years.
Oh yeah.
Or Rob Liefeld's Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Kickstarters were just notoriously late. That's the Liefeld's Kickstarter is what, 5 years out? Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Concerning.
and they're similar. There's a lot of these guys that they do them, and they're like, and maybe once a year they'll be like, "Oh, I'm still working on this." Like, yeah, I'm sure you are. I actually think weirdly that Liefeld will eventually get it to people, but
the thing is,
good.
Okay, well, I actually talked to someone who was a backer of the Liefeld Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And apparently he's been selling them at conventions.
Oh, okay.
But he never.
No way.
Oh,
You're kidding me. Oh, if that's true, that's bad.
Yeah. And it's also the same comic that he did Indiegogo for, too.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, he failed his Indiegogo, guys. Keep that in mind for every creator out there. Rob Liefeld actually failed his Indiegogo in raising funds.
What do you mean?
The last project, his last Indiegogo, he failed meeting his goal.
Oh, that was the thing. He just done a cover for someone. That's what that was. But when it came to Brigade, which was the thing that he funded, it got funded.
The one that he was running for like $2,000.
There was another one that had a cover that he'd drawn.
Oh no! This was his. Yeah, this was a project that he actually was doing all the way through.
All right, look at Brigade on Indiegogo. It's funded.
Okay.
There is another. I think, could be wrong. Look, it's possible. But there was a thing where he'd done a cover that some people thought he was doing the whole thing. But if you read it rigorously, it seemed clear to me that he had just done the cover.
Okay.
Interesting.
But no, I mean, he funded Brigade. I don't know. Matt, do you know how much it funded for on Kickstarter?
For Kickstarter, let's see.
I want to say it was like $50,000, but I could be wildly off.
Okay. You know what? That was his second time doing that campaign.
Okay.
He got $35K.
$35K. All right. And then on Brigade, you've got on Indiegogo, I think it's right now at around 8-something K. You're probably looking at that right now, Chuck.
Yeah, no, his first time, if you actually look how it's listed.
Okay, I didn't look at that.
There's two amounts.
Okay.
The first run he made $37.25.
Okay.
All right. The second time he ran it, he made 8,222.
Okay, and the first one was a fixed goal that failed.
Yes.
Okay, got it. I didn't even see the first run.
Yep. So that's where a lot of people realize, that you can come out and you can still fail even as a full-time creator.
Yeah, but as far as I know, he'd run it on Indiegogo after he'd already failed to fulfill it for a couple of years on Kickstarter. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as that is correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. Now I understand. We have a meeting of the minds, but I
meeting of the minds within the Wikid podcast. My God.
My
It's
God.
it's like a crossover episode.
Feast your eyes.
Oh my! Is
Oh,
that
yes,
the Earthworm Jim Compendium, or what is this?
It's the Earthworm Jim, the Doug Tenaple, the
Nice.
Is this one that was crowdfunded, or is this an older compendium?
It's crowdfunded. It was
oh really? Oh nice, man, very nice. It looks beautiful. He always does a really amazing work with the covers.
Yeah,
those shine and pop.
Yeah, this is the back cover.
Yep, I got my version too.
Yeah,
very nice, very nice. And the gold leaf on the edge of the pages is a nice touch too.
Crazy. He spent so much money on these books.
You can tell that the quality went into that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I actually jumped into one of his chats and I'm like, do not spend as much money next time. We want you to make money. If I put it into the book, whatever. But then there was a lot of other stuff that came with it. Just like, don't give us the trading cards, whatever. Focus on the book.
I think, and that's the thing, though. I think, and this comes back to Doug loves his backers. He wants to give his backers a lot of stuff because he made no money on Bigfoot Bill. He actually lost money on Bigfoot Bill. Yeah. Same thing. I think even with what he ran on this, he made little to no money on, Earthworm Jim.
I think he made some money, but it's like, no, get a decent payday, dude.
Yeah,
I think he's hedging on a bigger payday with how much Earthworm Jim made over at Indiegogo, because it seems like a lot of these companies will pick up a property based on how much they make. The Mystery Science Theater 3000 revival came about because it made well over the amount it needed on Kickstarter. Made millions.
Yeah. The problem there is he doesn't own all the rights to it. He owns some of he actually had to get permission to do even the comic.
Yep.
For which one?
For Earthworm. He created Earthworm
Jim,
right? He owned the rights to the video game, et cetera, back in the past. But he sold the video game rights. He had some rights that he still had, but he had to get he did some sort of a swap so he could make the comic book, and he doesn't have the video game rights to it. He may have if it becomes a feature film or something rights. I don't know.
It's possible because there's a lot of Warner Brothers, when they make deals with creators, they'll often give them, because of how their system is worked out, if you do it as a TV series, you keep the film rights.
Mm-hmm.
If you do a film, you keep the TV rights. Due to how dysfunctional WB is, in that they don't want to help each other out.
Indeed.
Yeah, I don't know. That's all very interesting.
I mean, he has made a lot of money selling rights. I'll say that. And he does have some rights to this property that could still be sold. So you may be right that he'll get another payday based on that. That's very possible.
And the thing is, and I've heard talks about them doing another Earthworm Jim video game.
Yeah.
So
no, he doesn't have any money in that.
It's basically like what happened with the creator or the writer of the Witcher series, I think, right? With the video games. He gave up the rights, and he didn't get a cent off those games.
Wow.
Yeah.
He didn't think it'd make a lot of money.
Boy, was he wrong.
Well, the good thing is that he was able to renegotiate his contract with them.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I didn't know that, and not only that, but now with the Netflix show out, I'm sure he's in a much better position.
Well, what I want to see now is to basically make a video game where you use a lot of the footage from the Netflix show and scans of Superman, right?
Mhm.
I think it'd be cool.
What do you mean? So are you talking about more like motion capture or actual
Yeah.
live action footage in the game?
I mean, like, look, I don't care either.
Okay, well, because I've seen
basically-
examples of both in a couple games before.
Okay, what I'm saying is they should take the Witcher series
Hmm.
and substantially take many elements of that and turn it into the next Witcher video game.
Oh, you think they should combine elements of the show with the next game?
Yeah, I mean, like, specifically just use, the do the modeling more based on the show and
Oh,
actually use
interesting.
footage from the show and all that other stuff in the video game.
That would be interesting. I wonder if they would try to make it look more like Henry Cavill. Because so, are you guys familiar with the Witcher lore? I'm
Yep.
not super familiar with it. Other than I'm pretty sure that the games take place after the show or in the books.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's after the books.
But so I don't know if it's supposed to look like an older version of Henry Cavill.
Well, the games are its own thing. The author has stated that
Hey,
it's not a
don't
sequel
ruin my
to the
canon.
books.
Don't ruin my canon, man. Don't you do that to me.
And it contradicts elements of the books too,
Well, we can overlook that.
such as Affleck, the mentor
Well, let's not get into
theory.
spoilers now.
Yeah,
He's like, earmuffs.
he's
Earmuffs.
not a major bad guy.
Matt, have you seen the first episode of The Witcher? Did you
I've
watch
seen the
show?
entire season.
What'd you think?
It was good. I don't particularly care for how they set it up because they wanted to do a Christopher Nolan thing.
Is that what happened? Because we were talking earlier, and my dad got confused at the first episode.
Yeah, because they did a Christopher Nolan thing where they jump back and forth in time.
Yeah. Me and the wife were still watching it. We find it a little disconcerting.
Okay, yeah, that is weird.
Basically, series storyline is in the present. Yennefer starts off in the past, about 30 years or so.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And Geralt, his takes place just about anywhere.
I think I'm confused now. That's wild.
Like Geralt's timeline kind of never fits in like with a specific time. It kind of intersects at different ways until the end. So, but I don't want to spoil the ending.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah.
I gotta watch it, but
that's weird because I prefer, and maybe they're trying to do this like you said to be more like kind of artsy like Christopher Nolan. But I kind of like it when a show just gives me like a straight up date. Like, okay, this is now you're in the past because the date just changed. It's like, oh yeah, okay, that's easy to understand.
And also shows how ageless Geralt and Yennefer are.
Yeah.
Interesting. I might have to go back and rewatch the first episode with this knowledge.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah, might help nail it down.
That's
interesting.
We've liked it tolerably well, but it is disconcerting when it jumps around a lot.
It can be a little hard to follow sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones didn't really do that at all, did they?
No.
Not too much.
Although they did do magic for travel in the later seasons.
Hey, what? It's Game of Thrones. It's full of magic. It makes sense. Sure.
It's a magic white series.
It's called what is it? What's it called? The when you have something that just fixes the plot of the story. It's
Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah. It's Deus Ex Magica. It works perfect. Yeah, we could have a whole episode on just talking about Game of Thrones. I feel like
thankfully for Jon Snow's case, since Daenerys' dragons can fly hundreds of miles in as quickly as Superman.
And as soon as they arrive, get shot down with a single arrow. Ooh,
spear
with single spear makes so much sense. Because they can't fly upwards. They're just restricted to. Everyone knows dragons are restricted to horizontal plane of movement. They can't fly upwards or downwards at all.
Also, if you're being attacked by an army of the undead with a leader who can bring the dead back to life, hide in the crypt.
Like I said, we could go on and on about Game of Thrones all day, but we don't have to do that because we have other avenues to do that.
Well, here's a fun one for me. Like, maybe it won't be our projects, but maybe it will be. 20 years from now, some of our projects, some of the either the present people or some of the people at Wikid or people we know, they're going to be the things that are being adapted.
Man, that'd be awesome. Wouldn't it? How about a Gritty Barrels historical drama? Oh yeah.
I mean, it's gonna happen. It's like that's the comics are what Hollywood uses now to build out its its programming.
True.
You put and it's not like every comic, but a good number of comics just end up becoming television shows or movies or video games or
and there's more and more streaming sites, meaning there's more and more room for more and more projects to be made.
Yeah, and so good chance it happens to us or people we know, and probably us. What the heck?
Let's keep our fingers crossed for us for sure.
Yeah.
First one I vote for is Rags.
Rags definitely is in a prime position. They would be good for sure.
You guys really want to see Regina as a black woman?
No. Well, I don't mind seeing Regina have her hair turn from red to brown. I guess. No.
No. It has to be red.
Hollywood. They don't like to give us the redheads too much.
I will just point out that there are black gingers. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Interesting.
But the thing is, there's a reason why Regina is the color she is. I don't want to get into the whole reason, but that's what Brian likes.
Interesting. Brian likes it the way
it's based off of Liz.
I'm gonna have to say that you introduced another element to why Rags will never be adapted. Brian will have full control over it. He will not want anything less.
And he'll use his negromancy to make it sell.
There you go. Just watch the all the Pro Pants League protests.
Right? That's it. I'm pretty sure that's a direct result of Rags. That's inspired by Rags. I'm calling it here.
What's interesting though, Jeremy's right. You think about this last decade and how many movies and there was in the 90s, but not as much. But you think about the 2000s to 2000 to 2020. How many movies in the last 20 years are based off of some graphic novel, comic, book, or something like that? We don't know. There's so much in the future that can be done. Know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of us are gonna. I would love to see Sporkman more on the animated series because I think that's where he would do very well.
Darn right.
But there are other projects, that could hit the realm very well.
Yeah.
I see you have a Snoopy comic there. It looks like.
Possibly. Yeah. So this is put out by. So there's a Boom. They have a sub imprint called Kaboom.
Oh,
I think it's for the kids. This is just new. It's just in comic stores now. You can get it in Barnes and Noble in a couple of days or something. Amazon. I don't know about Barnes and Noble. It's actually done by the reason I'm. This directly ties into our conversation here. The writer is the head writer at Charles M. Schultz Creative Associates, where he's written storyboards, comic books, and graphic novels for Peanuts. The point I'm making is I think this is going to be some kind of a. I wouldn't be at all surprised if this became the basis for a new Snoopy movie, cartoon, something like that.
Like an animated feature, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. And but they're starting out with comic books.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is, I mean, we've been over this before, but these different panels, they look a lot like storyboards that you'd actually do in movies.
Mm-hmm.
Or for animation, they'll still do storyboards to, because you got to know kind of what points are you illustrating between. Right. Essentially what he did is he pre-storyboarded this story as a comic book. and I have some confidence that they're going to turn it into an animated it'll be in another media as well.
Mhm.
But the point is, they started out as a comic because that is one of the most effective ways of laying out the story in advance of doing something else with it.
Right. I was gonna say. I mean, you're doing comics can not only be just a great, amazing thing on itself, but also can give you skills in other things. Like, say you want to make movies one day.
Oh yeah,
you're going to learn a lot of things about how to set up a movie, direct a movie, even just making comic. Honestly.
Well, a lot of comic does not pay a lot of money to be a comic artist right now. It just doesn't. And there's a lot of comic artists that have then said, well, why don't I go work as an animator? Right? I have the same skills, and a lot of them do, and they make quite a bit more money that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gain a lot of skills by doing these things. I think.
Because you think about it, a lot of before a movie even gets to be on film, it's all storyboarded out.
Yeah,
the direction, everything. It literally, people don't realize that the animation, comic industry, movie industry are all kind of like all affected in every way. They all intersect.
Yep,
completely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's really smart.
I have a copy of the Dread storyboard and stripped.
Yeah.
And they have it laid out as a comic.
That's awesome.
Dialogue in there and everything.
Wow. Yeah, that's really interesting.
No, I mean the comic is the new storyboard, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think and it makes sense then if we think about it like that. It makes sense why Hollywood has come to comics now for their new source material, because the storyboards are already there.
Yep.
You don't even need to make one. It's like literally right there in front of you.
Right now, if the system that kind of exists that's fading, but is so writers write scripts and they send them to studios that either buy or they don't buy them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they buy a really large number of scripts, and
a lot of them probably don't get made, right?
And a lot of them don't get made, and they because of the way that the union thing is set up, they have to pay a fair amount of money. I mean, and I understand why why these things are expensive in the sense that someone's putting a lot of work into it too. But they have to pay a fair amount of money for those scripts. Even if you're dealing with a low level script, it still is going to cost you. I'm just going to throw out a figure of $20,000. I don't know. At a low level script. And if you're dealing with experienced script writers, it's more and more and more expensive. You get script writers who'll get $1 million deals.
Jesus.
Sometimes for movies that never even get made.
Wow,
by the way,
that's insane.
Versus I paid $9.99 for this. Okay. And I can tell what it would look like in a movie form and decide if I want to do that or not.
Now, I actually think I want to bring this up real quick. I want to bring this up. Forrester Comics in the chat says, I think that can be a problem, though. Too many comics nowadays are just unproduced or failed screenplays. I think he's got a really good point. I think if your ultimate goal when you're creating your comic is to make a movie and you want that to be the thing that haps it, like you say you can show to people, I don't think that's the way to do it, because I think your heart isn't in the right place.
No, tell your story, but I'm just saying.
Tell your story. No, I mean,
go ahead.
I was going to say, because the only reason I bring it up is I was once approached by a comic creator who wanted to publish with us, but he was all about, he wanted to make this, he was clear, he made this comic because he wanted to make a movie, and he was showing this around because he wanted to make the movie. Okay. And I didn't think that the story was very good, because I felt he didn't put his whole heart into it, because all he wanted was a movie deal. He wasn't passionate about creating comics. I think if you're not passionate about creating comics, it won't necessarily work.
I think you need to be passionate about storytelling, right?
Yes, you can.
And I do think that, like Mark Millar, right? For instance, he's a great example of someone who has done very well with his comics and movies. And he in many ways does view comics as a springboard for movies. But he's passionate about storytelling, and he has comes up with some crazy concepts, and I think it works. But yeah, I don't like let me put it like this: if it's a shitty script, it's going to be a shitty comic.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think there's for me as a comic publisher, I wouldn't want to publish someone who is just in it to get a movie deal. You know.
Yeah.
To me, that's not enough passion.
Well, it's stupid too. It's like, what? I mean, it's like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? They exist in all kinds of different media. But the coolest thing they've ever been is the comic book.
Right, and oftentimes you see that, like, oftentimes whether it's an animated version, like in Berserk's case, or a live action movie, they hardly ever live up to the original. You know. Yeah. And so it's like, regardless of the quality of it, I do think that it's important to be passionate about, you know, if you want to do something, I think you should put your 100% into it. And if the movie comes later, I think that's amazing and a blessing. But I think you actually have a better chance of getting a movie done if you go into it saying, I'm going to make this comic the best it can be, because they're going to want to see an amazing story. And if you give someone an amazing story in a comic, it'll translate to a movie. So I just think focusing on that aspect of making an amazing comic as opposed to saying, like, I'm making a storyboard for my movie.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm just saying I think it's a better mindset is all.
No, I was sort of deconstructing the comic, which I can understand why that would be offensive.
No, it's not. Well, sorry, I don't mean to take offense.
Well, the other thing for me, like, I look at it as, you know, I think every idea should be explored when you're creating a comic. I'm a little bit different, you know, because when we did Sporkman originally, the first issue, we were thinking right off the back, because, you know, at that time frame, you know, a lot of superhero cartoons were doing really well. We're like, that's one of the reasons why we kind of got started doing Sporkman. We're coming up with these silly superhero names, and because we imagined, you know, them doing we were doing a comic, and also we'd have all these other deals going on, you know, doing a live action movie, doing a, you know, comic series, doing, you know, they would all be running at the same time, you know. So I think that I think is where it is. You should always look at all those ideas, but you should always go in. Each project should be given everything you can. You know, 100%. And I think, like, certain ideas, like, one of the first things, like, for me, like, if I wanted to, you know, as I was talking earlier about doing the Sporkman cartoon, the first issues I would love to launch for the first couple episodes would be Sporkman Goes to Japan, because I think that would be the first project that would come off very well in an animation form.
Yeah.
True. That's a good point, yeah.
So I think it's for both. But did we originally start out we wanted to do cartoons and movie? No, we wanted to actually write comics.
Yeah.
You know, but it eventually, within, you know, doing the story, we realized, oh man, this could be really good. You know, this is bigger than what we thought it would be, or this idea can adapt to many different ideas.
Yeah,
that's what's so amazing about comics is you're only limited by your imagination.
Yep.
So it's a great medium to work in as a storyteller.
And the artist patience.
And the what?
Artist patience.
There's this great. There's a cartoon about this creator this writer explaining to an audience that you know, we're not limited by budget in comics. And if I decide there's going to be this massive battle with, you know, 1,000 people on one side and 3,000 people on the other side, I just tell my artist to draw that. And then the next, you have the artist that's next to him, and he like lunges for his neck and goes, "I'll kill you."
Oh, that's amazing, dude. I love that so much. Yeah, I'm sure that's how a lot of artists feel.
One of the things that's really different about comics is just how collaborative it. Like, so I wrote, you know, a kid's story, and it's my story, and I have an artist who's doing illustrations of all the chapters, right?
Nice.
And I don't think I'm allowed to use her name just yet. She's doing a very good job, but it's clear that it's just, you know, my vision, and we're just trying to kind of you know, make my vision happen in illustration form, right? Versus when you're doing it with a comic, it's very much a back and forth with the artist in a way that it just isn't if they're illustrating a story, a already written story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Neil Gaiman talks about how he'll go to artists that he's going to be working with, and he'd say, like, what kind of things do you like to draw?
Nice.
You know, and try to kind of keep that in mind as he's writing his stories.
It's really interesting. I've never thought about that before.
Yeah.
I always try to make my artists draw stuff they hate to draw.
Yeah. Draw a horse. No.
No, I won't do it. You can't make me. Yes, I can. Here's money. Take it. Ah, damn you.
If I would have thought, when I was writing in high school, because that's where I really got my start of writing, my English teacher really just kind of pushed me to write. And I think if I thought, the 15-year-old version of me would be writing comics, even just on the side as a fun job or trying to produce, I would have never thought that.
Right? I think that's same thing, I think. Yeah.
And I think now here we are, and we have a great project. We have, we're among great creators. I feel blessed, and I know Eric does too. To be surrounded with Jeremy, who just promotes people constantly all the time. And then you got Matt, same thing. But then are both wonderful creators themselves. Movie Men. I love the universe that Movie Men has created. Who would have thought that our project would end up doing a crossover with them?
Speaking of which, that crossover, I'm again going back to the conspiracy theory that I mentioned earlier. Now we can tie Movie Men into it. Movie Men is part of the conspiracy. It's all connected. It's all connected.
This is why I think comics is such a creative, great aspect. When Jeremy approached us about doing a crossover, I was never thinking about just cameos. But when he's like, "Hey, could you lend Sporkman to a whole comic?" I'm like, okay. So it kind of makes me feel good as a creator that people love our project and they want to work with us on stuff.
That is cool. It shows that you connect with your character and your work.
I thought about it and I'm like, what character would I like to bring out of the screen? Sporkman.
That's amazing. Yeah, I can't wait. We were just talking about that earlier, actually. Sporkman, the new Sporkman Movie Men crossover. Untitled project so far, right?
I think the Doug's. I had a conversation with Doug. Was it on New Year's Day, something like that. He's working on it, and we also talked about something. I'll just spill the beans on something else that we're thinking of doing. Is I want to write a short graphic novel that would be it would involve some movie men getting sucked into movies, and Doug would do the outside world. So he'd draw half at least of it. But then I'd get 3 different artists to do the different worlds of the movies that the different characters get sucked into.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That would be separate from the Movie Men?
So that wouldn't be Movie Men Sporkman, obviously.
Right.
But it would be a Movie Men story about movie men getting sucked into.
Okay, like a little bit of a role reversal.
Yeah, and then the other ones having to try to find a way to get them out.
I like that idea.
But
you got. Sorry, real quick. I just want to say one thing. You got to make at least a double feature because it'd be fun to have them switch environments. Okay, what were you gonna say, Chuck?
So that's almost Jeremy taking it and making it a reverse isekai.
Pretty much, yeah, huh? Yeah. It's like that's a popular genre right now too.
Mm-hmm.
You see this popping up everywhere. It's funny. I just got a book that I need to read. It's a light novel from a new company called Infinite. I think it's Infinite Cross Universe or something. Mm-hmm. But they're a new publishing company that does light novels. Mm-hmm. And the book's called Another World's Zombie Apocalypse Is Not My Problem.
Yep.
And
that's a good title.
I know, right? That's what drew me to. I was like, that's interesting. Okay. And I like zombies a lot. So it's like, okay, I guess it's like the isekai with zombies. So yeah, I'll see what that's about.
Yeah. There was one show I just finished. I haven't read the light novel yet of where they poke fun at the whole isekai. It's called something Yusha. Basically,
Konosuba?
No, it's something Yusha.
Something Yusha. Oh,
yeah.
Huh.
So I forget what the other name is, but basically it's a parody of the whole isekai thing, and where basically I think the title is I was a hero called into another world, but I'm superly overly cautious.
That's These titles are getting more and more ridiculous by the day.
Well, it just goes to show you like how ridiculous the isekai genre has become.
Oh, I know it's almost it's funny because it's become so popular they're now already parodying itself.
Yeah.
It's like it's gotten to the point where of satire. It's like how it's so fast.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
Very quickly.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see, like, how some of those aspects are coming over into America, that have already been there, being pulled into these other worlds and stuff like
True.
that. So we see that with Jeremy's comic. He kind of has, even with Movie Men, he has some isekai elements where you're pulling characters from movie worlds into the real world.
And I'm sure these movie characters are just as confused as anyone. They're like, where the heck? What am I doing here?
But that's the source of a lot of conflict.
I would imagine like
what is going on?
Right? It's tough to be a dinosaur suddenly pulled out of your environment,
Why am I at the mall parking lot?
And what is a mall parking lot?
So can I eat this car?
I think Forrester put something out to Jeremy there.
Oh, really? Let's see here. I don't have it on my other screen, so let me go to the YouTube. He asks, if you do a film noir type movie world, I want to draw that part. Is that for the movie Men?
Yeah,
that'd be interesting. I would see it would definitely be like a Godfather type parody, or like maybe like some sort of gangster movie, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I know. We talked about this on past podcasts, but I love the Movie Men because of how much you can play with homage to film and just how many different places you can take it.
Oh yeah,
It's pretty awesome.
We're gonna have a lot of fun with this.
Definitely, that's what's great. Movie Men is all about fun. Same with Sporkman. It's all about having fun.
Yep.
That's what I like about those comics. My comics are always so dark and so bleak.
And I say they serve their purpose. I always say they serve their purpose, but I think what has been lost is the fun comics.
Right, exactly.
These all age type comics that that I grew up with, and I'm sure a lot of us here grew up with, those same things. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like seeing a superhero deconstructed. But I also like seeing, why do we love comedy stuff? Why do we like these different things? Well, everything's so dark now. Well, I want to do something that's fun, lighthearted, and somebody could go in, just read it, and not necessarily toss it away, but at the same point, it's a story contained.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and it's a bit of a escapism. It's a bit of a light. It's not something super heavy or dark. That's going to get you down, or maybe that kind of thing.
Correct.
Exactly.
It can be a good way just to have a nice little fun time.
After you read Watchmen, then you want to read Sporkman, okay?
Right. You need something to decompress a little bit after that.
You just do.
Very true.
I'm sorry, I gotta run. My daughter is going nuts, and I want to.
Oh, no worries, man. No worries. We're probably wrapping up here anyway in the next couple minutes. Where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Jeremy Lott Diary. So
excellent. Well, thanks, man. You have a great rest of your day. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Yep, same thing. I'm gonna jet here too. So
all right, let's get the last bit of plugs in then before everybody heads out. Oops, that's not what I meant to put. So I'll put that on the screen, and then where can people follow you, Chuck, and all your stuff?
Yeah, sure. So as always, you can always follow me everywhere at Sporkman Studios. That's YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So that's the best way to follow me.
Excellent. And is any kind of projects or anything you want to plug? Anything you got in the pipeline coming up soon?
Just if you guys haven't backed Sporkman, right now the best thing to do if you're interested, go to the Wikid store, and you can pick up the first issue conventions there. If you are interested in backing Sporkman convention or Sporkman Goes to Japan, we are hoping to be in print, hopefully, end of February, beginning of March, by the way Ginger is getting things done. So
nice. And so once you guys fulfill all the backers and stuff, what are your plans for Japan?
My plans for Japan, Comic shops.
Nice.
We are going to be. I will say this. February 15th. I think it's February 15th, but let me verify here. Hold on. I got to jump to February real quick. Yeah. So February 14th, 15th, and 16th, we will be at KatsuCon in I think it's Maryland. But we'll be at KatsuCon. Where we'll hopefully, we'll be there. We'll have some the black and white versions of Sporkman Goes to Japan and conventions. So if you're there in that area, you want to talk to us, we'll be there. But yeah, then our next thing to do is, we're hoping to hit a couple more cons this summer.
Nice.
I know, Mike, we got to talk about that. Some of the things we want to hit here on the East Coast, this summertime, because we really want to, really push Wikid and the Sportsman projects. And, hopefully then we can start gearing up once we get this things clear. Everybody's backers got all their stuff. Then we can go right into Sportsman on the high seas.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, man. And speaking of, you said, did you have to run out right now? Did you have to go real quick?
No, go ahead.
So okay, cool. Yeah, so I was gonna say, I mentioned earlier on Twitter that I was gonna mention some of the conventions that we're gonna be doing this year. So we're gonna be going back to Alien Con this year.
Cool.
I'm still in the process of getting all these solidified. So this is the tentative schedule, I should say. But we're going to go for Anime Expo this year in LA. And then I always try to get in SAC Anime, but that one's always hard. So the other thing is we're tentatively going to Emerald City Comic Con, but with the booths being so tight, we aren't confirmed yet for a table. So that one's kind of up in the air. That one's unfortunately kind of tough. I know we're looking forward to that one, but I've been talking with my contact there, and he's still trying to free up some tables, I guess. So that one's a maybe for now. But if we don't go to that one, we're planning to then hit probably something in New Mexico. Maybe see if Cody can go to something. But definitely, if we don't go to Emerald City Comic Con this year, we're going to be going next year for sure.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I know, like for us, if you guys can, definitely, I mean, we'll be at, that is the definite one this year. I know we want to hit Baltimore again this year for ourselves.
Nice.
Which, Baltimore Comic Con is one of the hugest ones on the East Coast.
Very nice.
So of course, Mike, we should probably talk about that on this, about that and like what kind of presence there. But, that way if people want to hit comics, that's the best way to support us. Get to convention, stop by, see people that you can, and
definitely, yeah. And we'll probably be posting, I'm sure you guys will as well, but we'll posting more updates about the conventions as they get closer. But another couple, we're actually going to be going to the Crunchyroll Expo this year.
Oh,
which I'm super excited about.
Nice.
I love that convention. I've been a couple of years already, and they always bring in like people from Japan and all this cool stuff, and so I'm definitely excited to get a table.
That could be a good one. When's that?
It's I believe it's in September, but I'll double check.
Okay.
Maybe it's August, but yeah, dude, it's so cool. Like one year, one of my favorite things I saw was they brought the artist from the Vampire Hunter D. What is it? Vampire? Was it the light novel series?
Yeah.
They brought the original artist from the series, and he had an art gallery on display, and he was there, and I was like, I got to tell him like, oh man, your work is so amazing, and it was really cool.
Cool, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, they do a good job.
And the other thing about an idea of getting there, because Crunchyroll, that's a lot of places where they also Japan looks at projects also. I actually have a couple followers on my Instagram feed who follow me from Japan that are kind of backers and stuff like that, or like not backers, but there's a couple of musicians that follow me that love
nice.
Sporkman.
That's awesome.
And my goal is I would love to be able to get Sporkman over there.
Heck yeah.
Vice versa, I think Sporkman would be excellent because it is a homage to, it in itself is a homage to the Sentai superheroes and the classic, fun heroes from growing up.
Something I'd like to do in the next couple of years. I'd like to because there's a couple translator groups out there. There's a couple translation guys, and then I also have a friend who taught Japanese in Japan for a number of years after he graduated from college.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd like to, eventually translate some stuff and maybe even go on a trip with this guy, my train friend, and maybe even like kind of shop around for where we could try and get these books out in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, the nice thing about Japan is, we actually are. I know you and I had talked about it before, but we still want to do a manga version of Sporkman. So I think that would be, if we can do that, and that's something, I would recommend to people once you get enough items, make a manga version, and then that way you can. It might be a little bit easier to shop, because here's the thing: Japan looks at things a little bit different than the United States. They want to look at things, and once they're done reading it, they kind of do throw it away. But if we have enough stuff in there, they might want to say, "Hey, let's bring this over, and we can adapt it this way."
Exactly, and if you already have it translated, the better. They'll love it even more because look, it's already in our language. Even we don't even have to do the translation work.
Yep,
it's already done. So that kind of stuff, yeah, I think that's a big thing. And also, I think, from what I understand, having a knowledge of the language is a big barrier, which for a lot of people. So having someone like my friend who speaks the language, can help break those barriers and help kind of bridge that gap.
I know we still have plans, and this is something I got to talk with you. Is we actually have our artist is from Indonesia.
Nice.
He still wants to. He actually wants to take Sporkman once we're done with it. And he actually wants to import it into Indonesia.
That would be pretty cool, yeah.
So, even getting people from there, and that's how translations work. And I think it's a lot of ideas, so we get Sporkman in there. Next thing you know, maybe we can match him with you guys, and you guys maybe have like something where he's the exclusive, because he does a lot of work for Marvel and DC for the Indonesian market. So, but the options are there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely good to keep a hold of these resources and these kind of connections.
Yeah,
networking is so big in this kind of industry. We wouldn't have gotten to anywhere where we were at if we didn't network with people and connect with people and learn from people. So I think that's definitely something to take away as a creator.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we're wrapping up here. So we kind of.
I did. Sorry about taking up more time there.
No, it's good. I think it was good. That was good stuff. I think that was good information to have.
So, all right, guys, I will check you later. Have a
awesome, man.
Day off, and we'll hopefully. What time are you doing tonight? Again, about 9.
I believe so.
Okay, so that would be about 11 my time. Okay, yeah. I'll see if I'm still up. I will. I'll probably pop in and do.
I think like 8:30. I think me and Matt decided on either 8 or 9, and then like around a midnight end time.
Okay. Which I'll probably be on. Maybe I'll come on for a little bit and stuff.
Yeah, man. So. Jump in when you can.
Alrighty.
I'm gonna be posting it in the chat after the podcast and kind of reminding people and seeing who can all make it and stuff. So
cool.
I'll post some more there.
Right. Guys, Matt and Mike, have a great day.
Have a great one, man. Take care. Okay. And then there were 2.
Yep.
So should we wrap up here? What do you think?
If you want to.
Unless you got some more stuff to gab about. What you got, man? Give it to me. Give it to me straight.
Well, you kind of have a stupid voice.
Hey. But it's my voice.
I'm kidding.
That's important.
I'm kidding.
Sure you are.
Actually, one of the more interesting things about the Witcher series that the author really likes Henry Cavill.
Really? Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's what it was. Oh, that I was earlier in the podcast. I mentioned that I was like, I think someone like an author praised like the movie adaptation, and I was like, what was it though? I can't remember. And that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, the guy does not particularly like the Witcher games, but he likes Henry Cavill's acting. Called him a true professional.
Oh, well, he is. He is that is very true. He's a professional.
But here's the thing: Henry Cavill is also a fan of The Witcher.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Dude, did you hear what he said in the interview the other day, or like a couple weeks ago? Someone asked him.
about
Yeah.
toxic fans. Yeah,
About about what?
about the whole toxic fans kind of thing.
No, it was actually
Oh.
something different. This was something different. Someone asked him, "Do you like Xbox or PS4?" And he goes, "PC."
Yep.
With like this furious look on his face, like I'm about to beat your ass. And
Well,
I was like laughing so much. I was like, "That's a hilarious answer."
and I watched the showrunner's interview where she talked about Henry Cavill and how he became part of the project. He actually called them right before they had scripts done.
Really?
And when she told him that it was based on the books and not the games, he hung up, read the books, called again.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, he definitely seems like he's the kind of guy who would do his homework.
Well, yeah, but not just that, but he wants to get the character right.
I appreciate that.
You're also the kind of character that he wants to play.
Well, yeah, I was wondering. I doubt he did that for Superman. Did he?
I think he did that for Superman. It's just that he was given a bad script.
Yeah, there's only so much you can work with as an actor if your script isn't up to snuff.
Yeah, it's a combination of bad directing and bad script.
True, yeah.
And I think that Zack Snyder was not the right director for Superman.
Release the Snyder cut, man. Law, fight the power. Do it. It was funny. We were talking about that earlier, but I actually do think it's real. Only because I don't think Zack Snyder is the kind of person would necessarily just come out and lie about that. But what I find is weird is how much WB tried to cover it up, like tried to make it a non-issue and pretend like it wasn't really real for so long.
Well, there were so many actors who were talking about.
I know, right? Jason Momoa's like, it's freaking real.
Yep.
I was like, what the heck? Yeah, all these people wouldn't just be lying randomly. That would be kind of coincidental, wouldn't it, or kind of strange?
Yep.
What's the bigger, more plausible thing, that all these actors are lying, or that a giant company with everything to gain is lying about it?
Absolutely, WB.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But it is interesting. I don't think it'll ever be released because I don't think it's finished enough, probably, and they can't get the legal rights for it probably because of WB. But,
well, there's a lot of. The thing is about something as complicated as reshoots that Joss Whedon had done and reshoots and what Zack Snyder had done. They were probably so ingrained into the movie that it just can't work.
And a lot of it had been filmed already, right?
Yeah.
When he came on.
Yeah, it was mostly done. Thing is that the whole problem with that was that he wanted his credit in there. It wasn't about finishing up a project.
Oh, Whedon, you mean?
Yeah.
But why would he want that credit? That's not a good credit to have.
It was probably a better credit before he started doing the.
Maybe he thought he could, and he probably thought he could fix it. Like he was like, I could totally just pull my magic and make this work.
Yeah, and that's how one of the problems with Justice League was that it clashed the two styles. You could tell when there's Zack Snyder and when there's Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon was a stupid, inappropriate joke at serious moments.
And then the Zack Snyder stuff was the way too dark stuff.
Yep.
Who would have thought that those two ideas or viewpoints would clash? Who would ever thought that?
I think WB thought that Joss Whedon could fix what they thought was broken, but
Joss Whedon's not a magician. He can't fix everything.
Well, I don't think
he's human.
Yeah, I don't think it was broken to begin with because Joss Whedon was brought in at a very late stage. Zack Snyder had a story in mind, and that's the problem. Was that Joss Whedon's giant ego said, "I want my own credit in this. I want to be co-director."
Who should have directed it was James Gunn. Maybe,
No.
no. Maybe from the get go.
Well, yeah, it
Like
had to be a
if he
get-go
didn't
kind of
all,
thing.
yeah. It couldn't. No, I don't think anyone could really have taken over at that point. Once a movie's that far into production, it's pretty much set towards where it's going. It's like all you could do is edit it at this point and maybe do a few reshoots.
Yeah,
Reshoots are so expensive.
yeah, which is why I was surprised to see that WB was willing to do it because it would have cost them so much money.
It probably did. Yeah, I'm sure. And then not making that money back, it probably is why they changed direction so drastically after that. They're like, this really isn't working. Oh God.
Yeah, and they have only themselves to blame on that one.
Yeah.
They let Joss Whedon have his way.
Yeah, and they also just didn't focus on making solid films before jumping into the shared universe. I think that's pretty much understood at this point.
Yeah, I
Like,
think.
you don't do that. That's not what you do.
Yeah, I don't think the problem, the blame lies squarely on Zack Snyder with the DCEU. It's basically the studio. Studio interference. They thought they saw the Dark Knight trilogy succeed because it was dark. While for them, they also saw Green Lantern, which was more comedic, and they saw
How bomb it.
a light movie would fail. So they decided to go with over the top darkness rather than.
Which makes sense why Zack Snyder was chosen for the director. He's known for doing very dark, dramatic things. It's funny because his first movie, Dawn of the Dead, was so different from his other stuff.
But he was
seen that movie?
respecting what George Romero came.
Yeah, it's true. He has a new movie coming out, a new zombie movie coming out for Netflix. I'm kind of curious if it's. I'm kind of maybe foolishly hoping so that he'll go back to kind of his older style.
It's
maybe
possible.
kind of go back to his roots, get back to his roots a little bit. It's called Army of the Dead.
Is it part of the George Romero lineage?
That's a good question. I kind of doubt it, but
well, only the Romero movies use the of the Dead.
Well, I think the they have the Dawn of the Dead remake he did. So I think it's a direct sequel to his original Dawn of the Dead film.
It's like I said, the Romero lineage, because Night of the Living Dead diverged at points where it had the George Romero of the Dead movies, and then you have Return of the Living Dead that split off from that too.
And are they all the same universe, or are they all kind of their own thing?
They're their own thing.
Oh, really? Okay, so it is kind of in that same tradition then, really.
Yeah, while George Romero is more serious, Return of the Living Dead is more comedic.
I saw one of his movies. I think it was a Romero, one of his later ones. Didn't he do? What was it called? It was the concept was like they were capturing all these zombies in like a barn because they thought like, oh, we can cure them. We can cure them, and then some people were like, no, you can't. They're zombies. You got to kill them.
You were talking about Walking Dead?
No, I'm not talking about Walking Dead.
Because that was.
Oh, you're right. I was. That's right. No, I'm just kidding. Cure the zombies. They thought they were like people still, or something. Survival of the Dead. It was called. That's what it was. It was a 2009 movie, and it's Romero. Yeah.
If only they were to go with his Resident Evil script.
Really? Oh man, how different that series would have gone if they had just based the first one off that. Wow.
Do you know what IMSDB is?
I didn't know.
It's the Internet Movie Script Database.
So it's like kind of like IMDb?
Yep, except that it's got scripts.
Oh, interesting.
So you can go on there and you can read George Romero's script for Resident Evil.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
And it's a lot more faithful to the source material than what Paul W.S. Anderson did.
That's pretty. Oh hey, look! Wow, look who we have.
Script
Hey.
Who do we have?
Kind of like IMDb.
Hey, are we? Do you have a YouTube window open, Natalie?
Yeah. I do. Oops, sorry.
Sorry, no, it's so cool. It was just we're getting double feedback there. I was like, for a second, I was tripping. I was like, wait, what is happening?
Yeah, I just.
Welcome. How's it going?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you guys?
We're doing good. Just hanging out, chatting a little bit. You know, on a Saturday. Did you have a nice New Year's?
I really did. It was a
Nice.
really relaxing holiday. We didn't travel or anything for the holiday this year, so we just kind of
Hung out
hung
at the
out.
place, yeah. Did you guys go see any fireworks or mostly just watch stuff on TV?
We just ended up, hanging out at home and watching stuff on TV.
Nice.
We
Yeah,
got-
that's what I did
we
this
got
year.
Disney Plus, so we were watching
Oh,
that
nice.
a lot.
Very nice, yeah. A lot of stuff on there.
Yeah, there really is a lot of stuff, really interesting stuff on there.
Yeah, have you watched the Baby Yoda show yet?
No, not yet. But they have some of the
No, I haven't.
they have some like the older Disney Channel shows on there, like That's So Raven.
Oh yeah, classics, yeah.
Yeah, they're good.
Or like I heard DuckTales is on there as well.
Good stuff.
Yes, very good
I
stuff.
think all of their older stuff is on there.
Yeah, well, I mean, they got an enormous backlog, so might as well just use it. I mean, it's funny because they start up a brand new streaming service, and they probably have almost as much stuff as like some of the other streaming platforms out there. So it's they got an enormous, and they're gonna release more for sure. So
we have how many decades worth of shows to release it?
yeah, it's a powerful. They're very powerful. They will become more powerful than you could imagine.
Disney's always kind of been such a guilty pleasure of
Entire.
mine.
Yeah, they also have
I think it is for a lot of people.
Mhm.
What's that? Oh, they bought everything Fox related except for the news part, I think. Meaning, most importantly, Hulu.
Yeah,
They bought Hulu.
Yeah, and they've got plans for a PG-13 Predator series.
Oh.
Called Predator versus Jason. Hey, what's up, Scott? I made that up, by the way.
I heard DuckTales.
No.
DuckTales. Oh, you heard DuckTales and you came up running. Oh snap! You heard
Not
right,
only
son.
not only do they have the original, but they also have the new version too.
Oh snap! Which has a lot of good actors on
I
it.
just want to
I've
watch.
heard Duck new version has like a bunch of funny comedians on it.
You know what I watched last night on Disney Plus? I watched Holes, and I love that movie.
I haven't seen the movie in probably 10 years.
That's a good movie, though.
It's so good.
It's solid.
It holds up, dude. It holds up so well.
Good movie.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's Shia LaBeouf's best movie. I really think that. Yeah.
I think that's an agreement.
Yeah.
I mean, Transformers 1 is decent.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. The first one's all right.
I like Holes a little bit better.
Yeah, man, Holes it's solid. They should make a movie. I would like to see them make the movie of the book, because there's a sequel to the original. There's the book, and so they should totally do a sequel. I don't think he's in it though. It's different actors, so they could totally still do it.
I always liked Zero. I always thought he was a cool character. Hey.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought he was a really cool character.
Which I want to say it's about. Who's it about? It's called Small Steps. It's about one of the other characters. It's about Armpit, maybe. Is that his name?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And in and X-Ray is in it as well. So it's like they moved to like a new suburb and are trying to like fit in and stuff.
I need to go rewatch Holes now.
Yes, you do.
It's a fun movie, dude, and yeah, they did a good job with that one. Yeah, you got to go dig those holes. That's right, Neostar. And the music was really good too. The soundtrack is actually really good.
It was an awesome soundtrack. I was actually thinking that as I was watching it last night.
Yeah. It's funny. I can still remember the freaking rhyme. It's like ingrained in my memory of the woodpecker. What is it? How does it start again? Remind me. It's whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Apparently I can't remember it. Apparently I've just forgotten it.
I love Shia LaBeouf. Like I know a lot of people don't care for him that much, but I like him.
Shia LaBeouf's an interesting guy. He has some issues.
What's the one that he did? I heard good things about Peanut Butter Falcon.
I have not heard that one.
He's a good actor.
He is good. He's good. I think he needs to. I really like Eagle Eye. That was a pretty good movie, and but I just think he needs to choose roles. You know, like Her Disturbia is a good movie.
I heard if you lost faith in Shia LaBeouf, you should watch Peanut Butter Falcon.
Really?
It's about it's a young kid. He's got some sort of disability and he wants to be a pro wrestler, and then he runs into like Shia LaBeouf and he like tries to help him achieve it or something. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Do you guys? That looks interesting. Yeah, I'll check it out. It's a 2000. That's a brand new film, 2019 film.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's what's kind of interesting too. I don't know if this is a fun fact or not. It could just be an awful fact, perhaps. But he was in a car accident once, and he lost his finger, and so they actually have to edit. They actually have to either digitally or whatever in Movie Magic. They have to edit around that now, or he just wears a prosthetic. I don't know. Pretty creepy though, right?
You know the interesting thing about the original, James Doohan, the original actor for Scotty in Star Trek. He was missing he did not have a middle finger on his left hand due to an injury in World War II.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild. Damn. Scotty's a war hero.
That's the proper way to lose a finger.
Right?
Well, the story is that he gave Nazis middle finger and got shot off. But
that's awesome. That sounds like an urban legend, but
yeah, but the reality was that one of the Canadian sentries was a little too jumpy, and that was a result of friendly fire.
Oh no! Yeah. You hate to see that. You hate to see that.
At least it was just a finger.
True. I guess that's. I guess you can count your blessings in some ways. You're like, oh, at least he didn't aim at my face or something. You didn't aim a little higher. You got. It's like okay.
It still cracks me up, and once it was pointed out to me that Nimoy couldn't do the "Live Long and Prosper" sign without using his other hand. That's why you always see him bring it up from off screen.
Seriously, he doesn't. That's wow. So he sets it up and then he just brings it up like, yeah, I was doing it the whole time.
Yep.
He didn't see me.
You never see him actually do like the finger spread. Like he has to do it off.
That's so funny, dude.
Is anyone watching any new anime these days?
Oh wow, that's a great question. That's
Blades of the Immortal on Amazon Prime.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fun.
Really.
I just discovered that Cells at Work is on Netflix right now, and I might just watch it.
Cells at Work. What's that one about?
It's sort of like a science fiction, kind of like Dr. Stone, like that, that scientist vibe. I think
it's kind of like Osmosis Jones, only like well done.
I think I might be thinking of the wrong anime now.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
Or am I? I'm thinking.
You're thinking of the Cells at Work. I believe is the one where like the characters are all like different cells of the body. Like they have the red blood cells are like the delivery men and stuff like that.
You know which one I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of Steins Gate.
Oh, I watched a little bit of Steins Gate before. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty funny, pretty interesting. Some people really love it too. Like it's pretty popular.
I've heard it's like either a love or a hate. Like there's like no in between there. You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's a lot of I think there's like 2 seasons of the movie maybe. For that one.
Yeah. Another one that I'm really interested in right now is The Promised Neverland. But
I need to watch that.
I just can never find the time to read. Like I'm real focused on.
Do you read mostly as opposed to watching like anime and stuff?
Like I prefer to read the manga honestly. Like the original source material, but I do like prefer Attack on Titan anime. I must admit,
it's so good. I love the Attack on Titan anime. Last season was so good.
It was so good.
I could talk about all day, dude.
We need like our own podcast.
I know we need an anime podcast. Yeah, that would be awesome.
I can go on and on and on about my theories on Titan.
Yeah, that's a great show. They laid out the mysteries so great in that series.
It's written so well. Isayama's just great.
Yeah, so many good characters. But another one I recently watched was the new season of Psycho-Pass came out on Amazon Prime.
Wow, I haven't watched
that one was really good.
Wow.
It was interesting. They kind of mixed it up. Instead of doing 20-minute episodes, they did 45-minute episodes, and then they did 8 episodes for the season. So it was like almost like 16 episodes.
Wasn't Death Note? They had like longer episodes, right? Like Death Note, I think they were like 30 minutes long.
Interesting,
compared to 20 or something. I don't remember. It's been a really long time since I've
Death
watched
Note's
Death
probably my top anime. I haven't watched it, like you said, in a long time, but it's probably gonna always be my number one anime, I'd say.
Yeah, my husband really likes Death Note a lot more than I did. I mean, I love it and everything. I think it's just more like
I think the first half for me, I mean, in particular, the first half is some of the best drama, mystery, and just some of the best writing. It's like it's so well paced. Like it's actually directed by the director of the Attack on Titan anime, which is why I love both those series so much. Is because I think his direction, he's such a good director. I just love everything he does.
I couldn't get back into it after a certain character died. It was great up to that point, and then I'm just like, I want no more of this. The show's over for me at this point.
I already know which character you're talking about.
Yeah, we all do. If you haven't,
I'm just not saying it in case anyone hasn't seen it.
Stragglers out there.
I'm not gonna ruin it for anyone. It like because Death Note's like one of them series that you like kind of look away for maybe like 5 minutes, you're completely lost. Like you really have to pay attention to episodes and make sure you're ready to watch it because sometimes I'm guilty of that. Like I have a short attention span, so I can't really focus on something unless I really want to. So I have to get into that mindset if I'm watching like Attack on Titan or Death Note.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's the I'm kind of like I can't focus on. I'm not very good at multitasking and watching anime at the same time. Like I don't know how you guys do that. That's intense.
I just get so easily distracted. I do it with like with writing. Like yesterday, I was supposed to write a little bit, and you know what? It just didn't happen.
I'm way behind on that. I need to do some writing.
Yeah, I get that. It's I can't remember who it was. They were saying they were trying to do like writing every day in the new year and stuff.
Oh, that was who does Ferryman? He said he was doing that and
Sean Campbell.
Yes, Sean.
Yes, Sean Campbell. Yeah, he said he was already had a 10-day head start. So.
I noticed that I'll have like one because I get in the way if I write good, it has to be in a very consistent pattern. And I have to write at the same spot. It has to be at the same time. It's like, I don't know if it's just that I'm like anal retentive or what. I have to do it at like a certain time. And if I try to do it earlier, then it just don't work out. And then I'll notice like I'll have one good writing night. And then for like 2 or 3 days, I'm like, I don't feel like it tonight.
Wow. Yeah, I'm kind of like that. I kind of have to wait till the moment strikes me. And then I'll just write a bunch, usually.
And then they'll have like those moments where I'm like, I'm just in the mood to write, and that's what I'm going to do all day.
I kind of have to hit a groove.
Yeah, I'm kind of like get started and get going. Do you guys listen to music when you write, or what do you guys? How do you guys get into the
100%? I have to have music.
I have to listen to music.
Yeah.
Particularly Beartooth.
Beartooth. I'm not familiar with this. Is it the band or?
The lead singer Caleb Shoma was in a band called Attack Attack. And he made his own group Beartooth, and their music is just so like, I don't know, it just really gets me in the writing mood, I guess.
Nice. It kind of gives you the creative energy that you're looking for.
Yeah,
it's like a hard rock metalish.
With some punk vibes, maybe?
No, not really any punk.
Oh, really? Wikipedia needs to change their description. Wikipedia has them as a hardcore punk band.
I would say maybe like more pop punk, maybe.
Interesting.
Maybe not even.
I don't hear it.
Really? That's interesting. I wonder why they
They sound more like
metalcore?
kind of like Breaking Benjamin would probably be a good.
Oh, I love Breaking
What is that? Isn't that like new metal?
Kinda.
I guess, yeah.
They're like on like this genre of their own. Like they're pretty unique.
Yeah, they're like a hard rock, but not quite to level like where Killswitch Engage is metal.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Kinda,
really like
yeah.
A Day to Remember too. I don't know if anyone else here is a big fan of A Day to Remember, but I love it.
I know that one song.
Oh yeah.
Which one?
I forget which one it was.
Apparently.
But you play it for me, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's the one."
That's the song. That's the one. We all have a song like that, I think.
It's real funny because they kind of changed their style up a little bit, and a couple of fans got kind of upset about it. So they actually created a whole new album that's coming out this year, and it's actually like called You're Welcome, and it's like basically them just doing all of their old songs in their old style just to please everybody. So I thought that was kind of funny.
You got to give the fans what they want.
I know.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
Another good one that I write to is Yellow Card.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah, they are a little old school.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, music is definitely helpful, I think, when writing.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's like it's the right level of like something going on in the background that you can enjoy and kind of get energy from, but it's not like talking where you're like you're going to be distracted from your writing. That's why sometimes I feel like listening to music that I've already listened to a bunch is even better because like I already know how it's going to go in my head, kind of, so I don't necessarily have to tune in 100%.
Yeah.
I usually listen to darker stuff.
Like what were we talking? Like Stephen King novels with like demon screaming
like
in the background.
Just like AFI, some of like Juice World is like
I love
some
that
of the darker
dude.
stuff.
Yeah, dude. I'm more of a rap game myself. I gotta say.
I like what I liked about Juice World is lyrically he's kind of on par with one of the other bands I listen to, which is Alkaline Trio.
Nice, yeah.
Wow, I haven't heard. Wow. I haven't heard that band name in years.
Oh, I love me some Alkaline Trio.
Oh my gosh, I forgot they existed until now. Now I have to listen to them.
Well, that's the funny thing is I listen to Blink 182 now because they have one of the guys from Alkaline Trio.
Oh, really?
Blink 182 just released a new album this year, I think, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good too.
It's really good. And then one before that too, and both of those have Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio.
Oh, interesting. Oh, wow. Yeah, it was a good year for music. A lot of interesting albums came out this year. I felt like.
It's a good year. Music, games, anime. Maybe we'll see.
Oh yeah, what are the top anime of the year? I'd like to do like a countdown of the top anime of 2019.
This manga that I've been reading for a very, very long time is now finally getting an anime adaptation. I couldn't believe
What's that?
It's called I Shaved, period.
What? and then I picked up High School. Yeah.
It's kind of funny, sort of like a slice of life, but it's really good.
Only Japan can get away with a title like that. If that was in America, you know how many people would freak out?
Yeah. If I use that sentence, like seriously, right? I would be in jail.
Even that search history on a certain person's computer could get them thrown in jail.
I know, right? I was thinking the same thing, when I seen the title.
Yeah, it's definitely a Japanese sense of humor. They definitely have their own unique style of humor.
I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the series, the Quintessential Quintuplets.
No.
That's more of a Sporkman thing. I know he's a fan.
What? Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm the author. He's kind of dragging it out now, like to the point, and I'm just like waiting patiently for this chapter, and it still hasn't dropped yet. And I'm dying to know. I need to know who the wife is, who the waifu, best girl.
Of course, it's very important to know these things.
I'm still waiting to catch up on Demon Slayer manga.
I was about to say, I was actually going to bring that up. I know you're a huge fan of Demon Slayer.
I love me some Demon Slayer.
Yeah, you
I don't
sure
care so
do.
much for the manga. Is the manga good as it prolongs, like after volume 3?
I like it in like that's the weird thing is the anime is really, if not better, on par with the manga.
Mm.
But I like the manga a little bit better just in the sense that you get a little bit more information than you do in the anime.
Mhm.
Like the whole Black Sword, they explain it a little bit better in the in the manga than they did in the anime.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
I don't
I
know
think
if
they. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know if they've gotten to that part in the anime, because I know Michael doesn't want spoilers.
Oh, it's all right. You go ahead.
Okay, so when he gets his color changing sword, it changes the color based on the person that's holding it. So they think that with his red hair that he's gonna pull a red blade, but it turns black, and both the smith and his trainer are kind of like, and he's like, what's wrong with the black blade? And they kind of gloss over it a little bit. They're just like, it's kind of a bad
It
thing.
doesn't matter.
But in the manga, what they explain is that it's so extremely rare that nobody knows what to do with it.
We just
So
don't even know what it
therefore,
does.
the people who wield them don't turn out to be great because they don't know what they're doing with it.
Yeah, I that's interesting. Huh. I need to catch up on that show. I only watched the first episode. I'm not gonna lie.
So
Yeah.
in the anime, you're just kind of like, oh, that doesn't really explain a lot other than it's kind of like unlucky. But no, there's like a whole thing that's
There's a whole story.
legitimate.
Maybe they'll get into the next season. You know.
There
more.
is, and I think it's going to tie into his family history, which is a little bit more spoiler, so I'm not going to go any
No more
further into that. But it
spoilers.
seems like he's going to be the one that figures out what the Black Blade is all about.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been told from Erie that if I want like not inspiration, but like if I'm having like writer's block, I should probably read Demon Slayer because it's sort of similar to Starring. I've been
Nice.
told, but I just like have this hard time like getting focused, and like I said, I just can't focus sometimes. I don't know.
I have so much reading to do
Oh God.
because of Wikid, and then I got some comics from the holidays too. I got the Batman Who Laughs, the hardbound, and I also got Last Night on Earth #2, and I did shoot through Oblivion Song 2 on top
Very
of
nice.
all
It's good.
the
Women
Wicked
song
stuff.
is good, man.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I do too. It's a good story, good characters.
Mhm.
But another anime I wanted to bring up is of course My Hero Academia. Who's been keeping up with that season? This new season.
I just can't get into it.
What?
I have tried. I know. I've tried so many times.
Oh my god! What is it about it?
I've been reading the manga.
I've heard it's just so uplifting and
God, it sure is. It's like it's almost not. It's also dark, but it's just so well written.
Mhm.
It is so good. And yeah, it makes you feel like you can do anything almost. It's like it's unlike almost any other anime I've ever. I think it nails the shonen aesthetic, 100%. It that is shonen to me. That's what shonen is.
That's what I've kind of gathered. Like if you're looking for a definition of what shonen is,
Yeah,
like,
it nails it for sure.
My Hero.
Yeah, that's about the best example I can give nowadays. It's like, yeah.
The other thing too is they do such a great job of incorporating like Western heroes too.
Really? How so?
Well, look at their whole structure, like the whole superhero genre. Like, how well have you seen, like any anime actually like grab onto that?
Yeah, besides One Punch Man is, I can't think of any. Yeah,
One Punch Man, and that's even satirical if you want to look.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not a serious take on that. Well, for the most part, it kind of
One
sometimes
Punch
is.
Man is like the anime that makes fun of other anime.
And it's
right.
It's funny. I haven't watched it in a long time though.
The new season, actually, I've been watching on Toonami. Is some people don't like it, but I've decided that I really like it. I think it's a bit of a slower burn, but I think it builds up to a good climax.
I will give you this. I liked it until I read the manga.
Really?
Yes.
Which one though?
Season 2.
No, I mean like there's like 3 versions of the manga. There's like a webcomic and then 2 manga versions.
I'm reading what's on Viz, so I'm reading everything that's season 2 wise
Okay.
in the manga. So I believe season 1 was more of a combination of those things, but I think by season 2 it was pretty much just the manga at that point.
Right.
But but the pacing and the info and the story just works so much better in the manga for season 2 than yeah.
There's rare occasions. I hate to admit it, but I'm such a visual person that if there's an anime for and a manga, I'll probably just watch the anime because I can watch it in 20 minutes and then I'll be done and move on. Whereas like a manga, I feel like I take forever to read because like I'm like studying every panel like in depth.
I think it's more of like just a preference. Like they're like
I think so too. Yeah, that's
like even
true,
with some series, like I'll still read, like even if I prefer the anime, I'll just try to give the manga a shot. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm saying it backwards. If I like the manga, I'll try to give the anime a shot. Like one that I did not care for was Domestic Girlfriend anime because it was just so different from the manga.
They cut it up a lot.
Yeah, they really did. But then I heard that it was only the anime adaptation was only made to promote the manga.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I prefer the manga because I can actually absorb the story faster than if I'm watching the anime. Like in the time it takes me to watch one episode, like I will like get 5 or 6 episodes worth of story in.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Definitely down to preference, I think.
Yeah. So if I do take on One Piece, it will probably be the manga form because
I've also heard from a One Piece fan that the manga is more visceral than the anime, especially in the later seasons. I've been told that the manga consistently stays better.
It's just one of them series I just haven't even bothered because it's like when I just don't know if I'll ever have the time to watch all of it.
Well, it's funny because I did a math. If you wanted to do one, I think I can't remember the exact numbers, but I believe if you wanted to watch one episode a week, it would take you like 8 years or something like that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's only getting worse because they just keep coming out with more.
I know.
But if you're all caught up, then good for you because that would be the place to be at if you're already caught up.
I definitely preferred Fairy Tail over One Piece, like because I felt
I did too.
Yeah, like because I felt like Fairy Tail was a lot like One Piece. Like you could tell like where the inspiration came from, but it was still a lot shorter.
It was shorter, and I personally like the character designs a little bit better.
Yeah.
Some of especially in the early parts of One Piece, some of the character designs are a little they get better over time, but some of them are a little strange.
That's for sure. Awesome Bleach is, and I still have yet to watch it.
I want to watch it again, but it gets repetitive.
You gotta look for an online guide to like cut out the filler.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you probably only want to watch till after the one of the big arcs, and then just stop.
Well, the other thing too is the anime stops before the manga finishes.
So you'd have to then go to the manga and read. One of
the things I like about the anime, and this is just for Bleach, is the story is better in the manga, but the action is better in the anime.
Yeah, that's fair. There's actually a fan project to continue the series. They've done a couple episodes, I guess.
That would be cool. I actually got to bounce again. But,
okay.
Glad to be back in for a little bit.
Thanks for joining us. We didn't expect you to come to join us again, but that was fun.
Yeah, just to talk some anime.
Right? You got to talk anime, man.
I know, right?
This has been the Anime Hour. Brought to you by Scott.
That and DuckTales.
DuckTales, exactly. And that's what started off. You came in for the DuckTales, but you stayed for the anime, and we appreciate that.
Oh my gosh.
All right, guys.
Take care, man.
And ladies, I will talk to you later.
Have a good one, man.
Later.
See you later.
I wanted to ask, are you guys familiar with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, I heard, I don't know how true it is, I just kind of seen it on an article online that they're actually going to be doing something similar with Tokyo Ghoul.
Someone was just telling me that. Let's see, let me look that up. I'm going to look it up.
they're gonna try to like revamp the anime series because now I've never got too in depth with Tokyo Ghoul manga, but from what I've seen, it is vastly different than the anime.
Really?
That's what happens when an anime overtakes a manga, but the producers don't want to create filler.
Like I feel like that's such like a early 2000s anime thing. Because you look at like how Inuyasha ended or Full Metal Alchemist and Tokyo Ghoul, like I just feel like the mangakas are getting more closely involved with the anime now.
Very true, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting too is the there's a new projects like that are being made, like the new Toonami show, the Junji Ito thing they're doing.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they're working pretty closely with Junji Ito on that one. I don't know if you're familiar with Junji Ito's work, but he's
No.
he's like a legendary horror mangaka, and he's
Ooh.
like considered like one of the pioneers. And so like to work with them, they're working with Toonami, and because Toonami is co-producing the new anime for next year,
That's
based on one of his works. And so it's just really interesting to see an American company now they're working with the Japanese company and the creator and making this awesome thing. And
That's so good though.
yeah, it is. It's good for the industry, honestly. It really
It
is. Yeah. It's just
forgot to
I'm
ask,
so happy to see that.
I forgot what I was gonna say about
Oh
it.
no.
I just completely left.
Was it about Tokyo Ghoul or something, maybe?
I wanted to ask him something about Tokyo Ghoul. No, I don't remember.
Oh no. Maybe if you recall. But Matt's not chiming in here because Matt likes classic anime.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Matt's more of a classic anime guy.
Like early 2000s or 80s and 90s anime? Because
Both.
to me, there's a vast difference. I think.
I think you said both, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what the newer ones that are getting more popular these days are the fan service heavy ones.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, who doesn't enjoy good fan service?
I
Well, there's good fan service. There's good fan service, and there's overly done fan service.
Yeah, like High School DxD. That's a little too over the top for me.
Yep.
I've never ventured into that territory.
Don't bother.
Well, it's all basically boobs and
Yeah, boobs for days.
You know, I hate to say it, but Fairy Tail is so guilty of it, Dean. It's like, damn, it's so one-sided. I mean, well, kind of. I mean, they always have the guys out with their shirts off, but the girls are always having their clothes stripped in bizarre ways.
Well, the thing is, unlike High School DxD, Fairy Tail does not have that problem where it's nothing, where it's exposed boobs.
Well, that's true. They're always covered at somewhat tastefully.
I have to laugh because High School DxD, when I first watched it, like the first couple episodes, I'm like, all right, it's fine. You know, I could get over this. I'm an adult. But then as it goes on, I'm like, oh my gosh, like we get it. It's just too much.
I
forgot what I was going to say again.
The Queen says, you've never seen Mortal Sins. Worst thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
Oh no! Oh, that's Jane. Hi, Jane.
I wonder, is that one particularly bad with their fan service, perhaps?
I don't even know. I never even heard of that anime or manga. Maybe I have to watch it.
I'm catching up on, because I just finished reading the Junji Ito adaptation of No Longer Human. It's a novel by Osamu Dazai. And so after I finish that, I'm focusing on Berserk right now again because I took a break from Berserk. So I have about 17 more volumes left till I'm caught up with Berserk. But I got the whole collection already, so I'm just kind of trying to catch up.
A friend of mine loves Berserk as well.
It's good. It is so good. It's so dark though. You have to have a strong will to read this book.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
We got there. Okay, what is it? Before you forget.
In a way, you could also say that about Play of the Immortals.
Hold on. Wait before she forgets. Hurry, get it out. Get it out for God's sake.
Oh
no! No, don't forget it.
I remember.
Oh God.
When people say like fan service, they think like boobs and all of that. But when I think of fan service, I also think of like gore factor and
Interesting,
all
really.
that.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it. I always personally, I always thought of it as like the sexual or like like you're saying the kind of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I guess that's a interesting point as well.
Yeah. Angels of Death. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with Angels of Death manga game or anime.
I remember you mentioned it when we were doing the Halloween thing, I think, right?
The Halloween. Oh, it is so. Please support Angels of Death. It is so good. I mean, if you can handle gore though, like if you can't handle gore, don't. Warning, trigger warning.
Really?
Watch it. But if you can handle a little gore and really cool, compelling characters, I really recommend it. It is so good.
I'll have to check it out.
And it doesn't have like boobs or any of that. Like there's none of that. It's very straight and to the point.
Nice.
I think the fan service in that anime is very much like for the gore, the shock factor. So.
Yeah, that's cool. It's on Crunchyroll, I believe, right? Streaming on Crunchyroll.
It's on Crunchyroll. It's on Funimation. The dub.
Oh, nice.
The dub
Very
is
nice.
awesome. Dallas Reed.
Is the main character or?
He's one of the main characters. Yeah.
Very nice.
And one thing that I loved about it is they actually, because I know, like, I'm not quite sure how dub voice acting works. I have a lot of friends that are trying to get into the industry, and I noticed that they constantly use some of the same voice actors. I noticed, but with Angels of Death, you don't hear those familiar voices. You actually get some new voice actors in that anime. So
that's interesting, and that's a Funimation one still, right?
Yeah, it's on Funimation.
Interesting. They must have been reaching out to some new talents, perhaps.
And the episodes are very short. Like they're only like 15 minutes long, and that's including the opening and ending. So like the actual content is not that long, but you can't stop watching it. You just keep. Me and my husband, we binged it in one night.
Damn,
and then we
yeah,
played
that sounds cool.
And then I read the manga.
I knew you went off on a whole rabbit hole of
I did.
That's funny. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I like the art. It looks really interesting.
It is. It's really good. Really good.
Now there's a new anime movie coming out in theaters this month. If I don't know if you guys are into going into theaters to see anime. But I love to do that. Really, you never done it?
I've never done it.
Well, I've been like a couple dozen times probably at this point because I started when Funimation first started putting out movies, and then Crunchyroll started putting out movies in theaters, and Fathom one of the top places to go for anime or any kind of cool events is Fathom Events. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that. They put on a lot of really cool stuff.
Miyazaki stuff.
They do a lot. Oh, they do the Studio Ghibli Miyazaki Studio Ghibli Fest every year, where they put on a bunch of movies. But the new one that is coming out this January, I believe it's the 15th and the 16th. You can get tickets on Fandango. It's called Weathering with You, and it's a new movie by the creator of Your Name. So if you know the movie Your Name, this is his newest film, and it's coming out for 2 days only in sub or dub.
Love Your Name.
All right, I thought it was really good. I saw that one in theater too, and it was like, oh man, so freaking cool.
I know the director from his short film, Voices from a Distant Star.
Oh yeah, that one was good too. I like that one as well. They played that one on Toonami a couple years back.
Yep, and they finally re-released the manga, which was originally released by Tokyo Pop before they went under.
Wow. Rest in peace, Tokyo. Rest in power, Tokyo Pop.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Before I got with you guys here at Wikid, I was actually thinking about using, Tokyo Pop's webcomic platform.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I totally forgot they had that.
Oh my gosh, it's awful.
Is it really?
Terrible.
Oh no.
I'm really not trying to be a negative Nancy, but like, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever used, kind of try to like go like the Webtoon platform route before. And Webtoon is the best route, I think, in my eyes, because when you use Pop Comics, they do not upload your files correctly. They look all corrupt and just shrunk, and you can't read anything. Yeah, I didn't even bother.
Really?
It was awful.
there's been a lot of controversy involving Tokyo Pop and original creations, such as the Rising Stars of Manga winners. They did not keep their IP. Tokyo Pop owned them.
Well, I was
Really?
actually surprised to see one of my favorite animes of all time is actually Citrus, and they just came out with like a spin-off series called Citrus Plus, and I was surprised to see that Tokyo Pop actually published them. Like I didn't even know Tokyo Pop was still doing publishing.
Hmm.
They went under in the U.S., but they still have a strong European base.
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
They're trying to
there's,
get back in the U.S., but
And for your name, I think the guy that directed your name also did 5 millimeters per second.
Yep, I believe you're correct.
Yeah, oh, that was really good too. Like it didn't have a lot of dialogue and a lot of talking. It was more of like what I gathered from it, maybe like more of like a visual thing. And it was really good. Like it hit you in the feels kind of.
Really? Yeah, he's good at that. It's his specialty.
Yeah,
It's
like
funny. I remember I listened to an interview with him, and he says he likes to draw a lot from his own life and stuff, and kind of real world things, because to bring in the viewer into the real emotion of what's going on.
yeah, it's really good.
Yeah,
Really.
he's good. Yeah, so that's why it's a fan preview screening on the 15th and the 16th. So if
I need to
you've had a
go.
screening near you, go check it out. It's
I've
pretty
never
wide
actually-
release.
I've never actually seen the movie Your Name, but I read the manga.
Oh, nice. Yeah, they came out with that adaptation. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch this movie now.
it's good. The animation is really nice too. He usually works with great animation studios. So, but yeah, definitely. Anime in the theater is pretty fun. I like to go see that.
I need to do this now. It's on my bucket list for the new year.
Oh man. But I guess we're pretty much here at the end of our time. We went for quite a while here.
Yeah, we
It was
did.
a good episode. It's fun. It was kind of mixing up, but not necessarily keeping to the strict segments too much. Just kind of letting people hang out as they come in and go. I think that was kind of nice change of pace.
I must say, I love the idea of evening podcasts.
Yeah.
Love podcasts.
I mentioned earlier on the episode that this year we're going to be starting up some new shows and podcasts on our channel. And
Awesome.
one of the, obviously, we want to have a variety of different podcasts and stuff. But I want to kind of come up with a companion. I want one of these to be a companion podcast to this, and that would be kind of like the evening Wicked crew, like people who can't make it in the morning, or people who don't really like getting up early in the morning. So we'll have a morning podcast and an evening podcast, and that way, there's multiple chances to interact with the Wicked crew and get more faces on here, because we got tons of creators who I'm sure would love to talk about stuff and their projects and whatnot. So probably be announcing some more of that in the next month or so as we get some more of these things rolled out and get some more of these projects underway. But definitely 2020 I think is going to be a big year with a lot of stuff on our plate.
Oh, I know. I'm so excited.
Yes, very exciting stuff. Probably should have a group meeting now that it's the new year. Actually, probably should. I'll message everyone and see if we can get something. Yeah, probably would be good to go over everything we have planned for this new year, everything we want to accomplish as a group and individually as this year. Just kind of nail it all down early.
For sure.
Yeah. But all right, well, where can people follow you guys so that they can make sure to check out all your new comics and everything you got going on? Why don't you go first, Matt?
You can find me at Matt Trend on Twitter for Mythoverse news. You can see at Mythoverse on Twitter. My fellow co-creators who could not make it, Dan and Brett, you can follow them for Dan at Dan_Sakuro, and for Brett at Celtic Brett. And we hope that we don't have any that we're able to get all of physicals out by the end of February.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're gonna be able to do that. Yeah, there's been some delays and setbacks on our end with the printer and stuff, but we're getting things back on track, and so I think we should be able to get these out to people pretty soon. And once we're in our hands, we're gonna expedite the shipping. Normally what we would do with the shipping, the normal time we would take with it, we're gonna expedite and just try and get it all done in like a day or two. Just knock it out. Like go crazy on it. You know, just so that we can get these out to the backers, because we know the backers are wanting to get these books and are eager to see what they're all about.
Yeah, they're being really really patient on this, so that's why I feel bad about making them wait so long.
Right? Yeah, no, I get that.
I must admit, I follow the Mythoverse on Instagram, and I love it.
That's awesome. And are you guys in demand or anything like that at the moment?
No.
Anything like that? You guys are closed for the. So when will be the next chance for people who maybe didn't get to your campaign? When will be the next opportunity to pick up those books? Do you think?
Well, I think one of those places is pretty obvious. Michael.
Tell me anyway. I'd like to hear when you say it.
It's door.
Ooh, it sounded so good.
And when I launched the Mythics issue 2 Kickstarter, you'll get a chance to get not only issue 1, but a revised version of issue 1.
Nice. So that'll have new, from what I understand, new dialogue. Is that right?
Yep. New
Nice.
lettering.
New lettering too. Oh wow, very nice. Whole new makeover for the second round.
Pretty
Nice,
much.
Man. Well, yeah, and actually, why don't you go and just repeat that? If when is the next campaign coming out for you guys then?
Sometime in March.
Nice, man.
Give us a buffer between fulfilling physicals and people having money for after their tax returns are out.
Smart. And I like it too because people will be getting their books in the mail, and then they'll be like, and then the campaign next month the campaign opens up. So as people are getting the books, they're going to be like, okay, I'm reading them, and now I want the next one, and here it is for me to get into right now.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's a smart way to do it, honestly.
Very smart.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm confident we're going to knock this out. This month we're going to finish the printing, and then we'll get them all shipped. So yeah, people will be getting their books very soon. We are working hard to get this done for you guys.
Yeah. It's
but,
worth the wait.
Yep.
Definitely worth the wait. That's for sure. And then where can people follow you online, Natalie?
You can follow. Starring is more active on Instagram, which is instagram.com/star.ring.series. And then we haven't been active in a bit. We've been, well, Erie's been kind of busy at these days. She just had like an event recently, so we are a little slow, a little behind on the episode release right at the moment, but it's coming.
Nice, very nice.
Very.
Well, that's awesome.
And
Yeah,
I just wrote a 0.5 chapter that when I do the campaign this year, which I'm not quite sure when yet, still kind of working that out. But we actually have an exclusive 0.5 chapter that you only will get from the campaign.
Nice, kind of a little exclusive story for just the backers.
Yeah,
that's nice. Yeah, I like that. It's cool because you don't often get to see like extra story. I think that's a pretty cool way to do it.
It is. It doesn't really progress the plot any, but it's pretty neat.
You get a little more. You get a little more character stuff, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's really Nico and Willow based. Like the first, even with the 0.5, it's still very Nico and Willow based, but it's pretty. I actually really enjoyed writing.
Nice. Well, that's gonna be a lot of fun to see. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
And well, cool. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on for the podcast. Hope you guys had a good holiday season, a good New Year, and I'm looking forward to what we're all going to get done this year. You know, we all have so many amazing projects coming soon, and some that are out, some that are on the way, even in second issues on the way as well. So, just a lot of really cool stuff in store, I think.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, definitely, and we're very excited as well. And thank you all for joining us in the chat. I had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys and talking with you in the chat there and answering some of your questions. And we appreciate it. And we'll be announcing some more stuff, as I said, in the coming weeks about some of our new shows that we're going to be putting on. And
yay!
So we've got a lot of cool stuff coming in the pipeline and a lot of good stuff. So just follow. Yeah, I guess I should plug myself. plug or rather follow us at Wikid Publishing on Twitter. That's where we're primarily active. Although we're going to be starting to kind of use our Instagram a lot more. Like to start promoting that, and because we do have one, and I think it'd be good to kind of help get it out there a little bit more. I've heard from a couple of different people they really like what Instagram can offer. So if you go to Instagram and just look us up on Wikid Publishing, you'll also find us there, and we'll be, as I said, we'll be starting to get more active there. So definitely check that out. And also, if you haven't, go check out the Wikid store. Currently, we still have the holiday sale up for just a little bit longer, so everything is 20% off on the store. And currently, you can get all the comics that we have out, as well as merchandise and other stuff. And some of the comics can include Sporkman Conventions, Decimators Volume 1 through 3, Barrels number 1, and the 2 chapters of Project R, which I am the author of. And then there's also some sweet merchandise like shirts, prints, and posters. We've got a mug, even a hoodie. So there's a lot of cool stuff there. Yeah, so go check that out. And we'll be having, and also the Wikid magazine. The first issue of the Wikid magazine is out, and it's got serialized comics. It's got short stories, interviews. We got an interview with the Rags team, in-depth interview. We've got a spotlight on weaponized nerd rage, and just a lot of fun stuff. And it's a 98 pages, so it's packed full of stuff. And so we're really proud of this issue. The next issue will be coming out, I believe, in around late March. I want to say is what we decided on. So definitely keep a lookout for that as well. And if you haven't given us a like or subscribe, we appreciate both. And thanks again. We appreciate you on the Wikid podcast. We're gonna go make some comics now, I think. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye.
Stay
Later.
Wikid.